Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 20 of the Friday Nightmares podcast. I am one half of your hosting team this evening, Smoke Show Crawford, coming to you from Swartz Creek, Michigan, where apparently once Halloween ended, winter decided to grasp our throats and start shoving snow in our face because it is snowing and blistery cold here today. But coming son of a bitch. And joining me, as always,
I could be coming with you as well, Scott, depending what kind of podcast we want to start offering for people. Join our fans only page. Heather Powell podcasting today from Waterdown, Ontario, Canada. Honestly, it's not that bad. It's only, I don't know what it is in American, but it's 4 degrees Celsius here, which is what an American, like, I don't know.
Let's see. I told you 3 earlier, and that was 35. So it's probably about 40-ish.
40-ish. But I'm not a bitch, so I'm not gonna complain about it. It's like snowing, but not really snowing. But like the moment it hits November 1st, I forgive any snow.
Right.
I feel like when you live in the north, you just have to expect it on and off between now and March. I only get mad when it snows between April and October.
Agreed. Yeah, because like this, as much as I hate the snow and all that, like we live in the north, it's expected.
Yeah, like I can handle it then, but when it happens like other times, I find that I get like unrationally angry.
Right.
like I don't know why. Like it's not like I have any control over the weather, but I get super offended if it snows in April. Like I don't know, like it offended my great ancestors by snowing for some reason. But we're coming off the high of Halloween weekend. I had, of course, a very tame weekend.
Yeah, tame my ass.
I didn't get up to any shenanigans at all.
No, nothing Heather would ever do.
I basically partied from Devil's Night to last night. So to give you an idea, I went to a club called Club Absence here in Hamilton, Ontario. I dressed up as a devil.
A very awesome, good-looking costume too.
Sexy is what you meant to say.
Yes, very sexy.
That's right. And I went to this event. It was a drag show, and the promoters are 2 guys, and they're super cool and shit. So my friend Ann and I ended up buying them drinks. So then they ended up buying us drinks. And then there were shots upon shots of I don't even know what I was drinking. I went Facebook Live. Don't remember doing that. But I did the next day when I saw the video. Which wasn't, I didn't say anything offensive. It was just like happy Halloween, happy Devil's Night. It's not like I don't know.
Too right, bad. You didn't do anything bad.
Oh, sometimes bad is good.
It's true.
I enjoy making poor decisions. So I would have loved to make 2 poor decisions with those gentlemen that we were drinking with, but
damn.
I don't think that was going to happen. I don't think I was their type. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. So we ended up closing the bar with these gentlemen, and to the point where the lights were on and the stools are being picked up, because it was a socially distanced event. So you had to wear a mask into the club. You had your assigned tables, and you had bottle service. It was honestly like being in VIP. I don't know if you've ever been to a club and had VIP.
No.
So I've a couple of times, and it's just like you basically have a set area and a server, and they come over and they bring you drinks and stuff, and you can buy bottle service and stuff. So obviously there wasn't bottle service, so they probably could have done bottle service. I don't know why they didn't, but it was sick. And but the only problem was I got a little too drunk, and I was dying Halloween morning. Like I could not even get out of bed. I was so hungover, and I pulled my shit together, and I made it out Saturday afternoon for my friend's kids' scavenger hunt in the park, and we hid candy, and the kids found it. I came home, and I handed out candy to a lot of children. I was out of candy. I ran out of candy, and I was so happy. And I'm not at all saying to people who live in areas where COVID-19 is very serious that they should have sent their kids out. I'm only speaking to my environment and where I live.
Oh, of course.
And it was very nice to see people out with their kids wearing masks, all of us engaging in proper hygiene. So I used tongs to give out the candy. I wore a mask. There was a couple of and people I found this year, if they did Halloween, they went all fucking out. Like it was like go big or go home. And it was really, really enjoyable. And then I went to the bar with my parents. Yes, I went to the bar with my parents on Saturday night, dressed up in my Superwoman costume, which all the kids loved, thought it was like the coolest shit ever. And there were some really cool costumes. So I'm flying on a high from October, man. I had a fucking amazing October. I was saying to my girlfriend earlier today, I think I've had one of the best Octobers I've ever had.
And that's awesome.
You know, and it's because I went out and I did stuff and I went to time events and I did things I loved. And yet again, I am not criticizing. If you live in an area that it's not safe to do that, I absolutely respect and understand why you're making the choice that is best for your family. In my area, we're offering these things because we can do so safely. And I've enjoyed every single one of them. But what about you? What did you get up to?
I'll say that is awesome. I'm glad you had such a great month. For me, well, Friday, since the Michigan theaters finally opened around here, I decided to do my what I used to do back in the day, which was the solo Scott adventure, go to a theater and check out a horror film. So I checked out a new 2020 horror film, which I will talk about more in our what we've been watching segment. And then on Halloween, I ended up going out, meeting up with my date, and we went over to her friend's house.
Your lady friend.
Yes, my lady friend. And we ended up going to her friend's house, and we all got dressed up and went trick-or-treating around their neighborhood. I pretty much just repurposed one of my old costumes and dressed as a wizard, grayed out my beard, and painted.
Did you tell people you almost went pro for magic?
I should have. No, but no, like all the kids were all dressed up in super adorable outfits. I shared a picture with you of them, and
oh, they were great. Yeah,
we all went out trick-or-treating, had some hot ciders and thermoses for us and stuff like that. And yeah, like the people that were passing out candy were just like doing some amazing things, like a lot of awesome decorations, some very inventive ways of handing out candy this year. There was one guy that was standing high up on this porch, and he had like a metal chute that he would just drop candy down, and you had to put your bag under at the bottom, and it would shoot right out at the bottom.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and then there's like some people that had like these really long extended grabbers that were grabbing the candy and reaching and dropping in the kids' basket.
Oh, kind of like what I was doing with my tongs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was some people that were like, the kids would come up to the house, and they would just reach, the people that were passing out the candy would reach two hands in and grab like double fists of candy and just throw it all in the person's basket or bags. Like wow. The kids got hooked up this year.
Yeah, I loved it. There was a little girl across the street from me that went as a cloud and was in this white, I don't know what fabric to call it, but a see-through fabric, and had lights in it.
Oh, nice.
And it was incredible. She told me she made her own costume, that her mom didn't help her at all, which I think mom had a little bit to do with it, but you know, she wanted to take the credit. And it was so much fun. There was my neighbors down the way. They had set up a table. They did individual wrap treats. And the reason why I chose not to do that is because I felt it was more sanitary for me to take the box, open it, pour it into my bucket, and use tongs. I never actually physically touched the candy.
Right.
I kept gloves on the entire time, and I had a mask on the entire time. And honestly, I kept it like at the end of my driveway. I shared a picture. I don't know if I shared it to our Friday Nightmares page, but I basically set up a table with my pumpkin and my blow up dog Dot, and my bucket that I had covered in cobwebs and stuff. And honestly, I'll do that again every year moving forward. I thought it was easier than having the kids walk up my driveway and me waiting inside. My dog didn't bark. Like, it was so much easier to just do it that way. And honestly, I will do it that way. And if I have to do it in my garage, like wait in my garage and wait for the kitties to come there if it's raining, I'll do that. Like, I will not go back to traditional, like waiting at the door, have the kids knock ever again. Because really, you're only outside for, 2 hours. Like, that's it.
Right. Like, especially for you, you have like that attached garage, which makes it easier.
Yes.
Like for
Yes.
me, I'm kind of screwed. Like if it is like shitty weather, it's like I only have my house. My garage is too far back.
Absolutely. You got to do what works for you. But I will never go back to the other way of doing it again. I was so happy to see the kids out. I had one kid argue with me because they wanted more candy and I refused to give them more because I wanted to save it because I was running out. I didn't have enough candy for all the kiddies that were coming around. And it was so enlightening and refreshing. And when we did the scavenger hunt, we hid the candy. So we basically hid the candy on a playground, which yet again, I think this was actually less hygiene because we were putting it on a playground where all these other kids had been touching. But anyway, I digress. Whatever makes people feel better. And in the basketball court that was near there, and they have one of those weirdo outdoor gym things that like super hardcore fitness people use. I work out every day, but I would never go use one of these things because they look painful. But so we put the candy there and the kids went and did a scavenger hunt. That was with my friend and her kids. And that was a lot of fun, even though I was fucking dying from my hangover from the night before. But man, the drag show was sick and the costumes there were sick. And the two gentlemen that drank with us, though they were not interested in us, were hot. So it was some good visuals that we got to look at during the evening. Man, like what a great Halloween, and props to everybody who celebrated however you felt comfortable, however was safe for you. Whatever you did was right for your family, no matter what choice you made. We all live in different environments. We're all experiencing this differently. And I'm just really glad we could all enjoy this holiday, and to see the joy on the kids' faces, just like it lit up my heart. You know, they've had it the worst this year.
Yeah.
Adults can manage shit, kids have it harder. So whatever you did to bring joy to your kids, props to you. And let's continue to move forward and be positive.
Yeah, I was saying like, like someone had said, no one's gonna let COVID stop us completely. Like
No.
we gotta do things to like bring some semblance of normalcy.
And a new normal. And I think people need to be okay with that. Like we may always have to wear masks.
Right.
And I know that there's, okay, I'm going to be very blunt here. For the people in the States that don't think this is an option, you need to put on a fucking mask. Okay? I don't care if that made you upset on this podcast, then you don't need to listen to us.
Yep.
We are in a situation right now where we need to protect each other. There is nothing wrong with putting a mask over your face.
Nope. It takes 2 seconds and it's just not even that inconvenient.
It's not even inconvenient. If this is all we need to do to protect each other, because reality is, like, don't you go to the grocery store and people are coughing and hacking on shit anyway? You know what my favorite thing is now? All those people that do that shit have stuff over their mouth so I don't have to watch them cough on apples. Because that's what would happen beforehand. And, like, we just need to get it. We just need to be here to protect each other however that needs to be. And if you're not comfortable with leaving your house and you want to do Grocery Gateway, which is our online grocery system or whatever, that's great. If you are comfortable with going out, that's great. But there's rules that are put in place for a reason.
Yep.
Put up with it.
I know, and it pissed me off so bad because this just reminds me of something I was doing today. I was at my grocery store returning bottles, and it was me and probably like 8 or 9 other people in there returning bottles at the automatic machines that we use. And it was me and one other person was wearing a mask. No one else was. It's like, why?
What do you think you're doing? Like, what battle do you think you are fighting right now?
Right.
Like, and there's Canadians that do this too. I have not seen it in stores because it's mandatory here. Canadians tend to follow the rules a little bit more. Though I've seen people that will like hold it down below their nose and stuff like that. Stop being a tool, man. Wear it properly. Like, this isn't a big deal. And to my American brothers and sisters, this is not a political podcast, but and I didn't even talk to Scott about saying this, so he's just going to have to listen to me for a second. I listened to the Psychosemantic podcast with Bo, and I'm going to say his name wrong again, Darren.
It's Darren, yeah.
Darren. And they talked about the election coming up. I know that by the time you hear this, the election will have already passed. And that, first of all, that podcast is incredible. Please listen to it. It's on the Legion Network. They do an excellent job about talking about the hunt, and they also do an excellent job about talking about politics. We are in a situation right now where we need change. And if you don't like that listening to this podcast, you're more than welcome to not listen to what I have to say.
Yep.
But we need change, okay? You guys need to look at what's going on right now in your country and realize that people are dying unnecessarily. There is more racial tension than there's ever been, and there is big problems here, okay? I get that no candidate is perfect, okay? There's problems in all politics at all level. It is what it is. But what I wish for all of you is for change and for hope and for somebody who takes this seriously and doesn't say that COVID is over, because it's not. And we can work together to have our borders open again so Scott and I can get together and he can come to Absence and get really drunk on drinks and having a really, really good time. That's what I wish for all of you. So please, please, if you're hearing this now, I hope that has happened for all of you, because this is unacceptable to what you have all had to put up with. And I'm done with being PC. You guys need change. So if you didn't like that, too bad. And that's all I wanted to say on that topic.
And I'm completely fine with that because, I'm hoping that, everyone that's listening hopefully has gone out and made their voices known and voted.
And I will say this, being a Canadian looking in at your country, there is one side. And if you vote for the other side, I don't know where your head is at. Like, you need to look at the bigger picture here, and maybe you don't like certain things that one party has done. That is fine. I don't always like things that one party's done either. I don't always like the people that they are. But your country is in an economic and medical crisis right now. So there is one choice. And that is how I feel from an outsider looking in. I will be pretty blunt about this.
Yeah, if we're going this route, fuck Trump. I hope you voted the other way.
Right. And if you didn't, and the situation is the same, I love you all, and I will continue to love my American brothers and sisters. And I hope that we can all continue to work together. If for some reason Mr. Trump has been elected again, we can continue to work together to one day have our borders open again. But if we're going to be quite blunt, and I'm motivated to this because of Darren and Bo, that is honestly what motivated me. Listening to that podcast, Scott and I have always been very careful with what we've said. We've tried to be discreet. I've decided to be blunt.
And I'll say your thoughts are the exact same as mine. You're just much more intelligent the way you can speak it and back up your wording.
Well, and I don't have any skin in the game. I'm just a lowly Canadian with my maple syrup, drinking at Absence on a Hamilton night, having a good time. And that's fine. Like, at the end of the day, my opinion doesn't matter that much. I have no stake in your country at all, except when I come over there and I spend my big dollars at Hot Topic and Cheesecake Factory and I don't know, wherever else I fucking go to. I have no say. I'm just from an outside perspective looking in, and I hear the passion from people. And I think right now people really need to think about the situation that you're in and trying to get out of that. No choice is ideal right now, but we got to move forward and really take the chance. If you're interested in a very fair conversation about politics, listen to that podcast.
Yes.
I think it's a really, really good chat. And because I just, myself wanted to share my views and what they were thinking, I thought it was awesome. And hopefully, you're listening to this, we'll see what America looks like. Hopefully things are going okay.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe by the next time we record, I will have somehow smuggled my way across the border of Canada if things go south, and I'll be recording in Ontario with Heather.
I think that will be very unlikely.
We'll see about that.
First of all, Scott, I don't think you could smuggle yourself anywhere. Like, I don't think you could smuggle yourself into fucking Target. Like, I don't even think
we'll see about this. We'll see about this.
Right. So, I wish you all love and happiness. I really do. Every single American that I know, that I don't know either. And I really do hope for a better world and a better life for your country. So, but yes, Halloween is finished. We are on to November. Remember the 5th of November. V is for Vendetta. I guess we could just jump into our 2020s. Was there anything you wanted to add or anything cool that coming up horror wise? I guess besides your movie experience, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, nothing really other than that. Though I will just briefly mention it because I'm not going to talk about them in my what I've been watching right now. But just because of the upcoming election, I decided to finally watch the Purge movies. So I'll be talking about those next episode.
Nice. The Purge movies I've only seen up to, I think, 3.
And that's the one I'm on right now.
I haven't seen the one that's
The
What
first
is it
Purge.
called? The First Purge? No, I
Yeah.
haven't seen that. It was just, I like the Purge films, but I find them really depressing because I feel like your country's not far off of it.
Right.
So-
That's why I was like, you know what? That's like I was happy. It was all this happy go fun Halloween stuff. Oh boy, the ugly side is coming soon. So let me watch this.
Absolutely, right? So anyway, maybe yeah, Scott can decide if he wants to keep all that political stuff in there. We'll see what he decides when he edits. Scott's the boss on here on Friday Nightmares.
Yeah, right.
I just show up and wave my angry Canadian flag in a polite as manner as possible, and like, you know, hang out for the ride. So I guess we'll break into our 2020 movies. I'm actually really excited for our topic tonight because it's something that I didn't really like before and that I've come full circle around on.
Right. I'll say same here. Which I didn't get a chance to bring up the topic, but it is found footage.
Yeah, like yeah, I can't wait to talk about it. Honestly, like doing these watches really made me reflect on what I liked, why I didn't like found footage, and how that changed.
Yep. There's still the things I cannot stand about found footage, but those are the movies that I just don't like.
Yeah.
But then there's the movies I really do like that have done things correctly.
Absolutely, right? So anyway, let's break into these 2020 movies. So like a biggest shock of fucking 2020 is this first one.
Right.
Didn't see this coming at all. It is called Jack in the Box, and it looks like it's going to be the biggest piece of trash that you have ever seen before in your life. And surprisingly enough, it is totally not. It's basically a movie about a cursed Jack in the Box that is passed down from generations to generations. It kind of reminded me, there was something else, like the mask from Clown. Remember the mask from the movie Clown, and it had been passed down from generations to generations? It kind of reminded me a little bit of that. And it's based in this museum. I believe it's a British film.
Yeah, I believe so. Because the main redhead girl, she's British, and the guy came from America.
Yes. Though I thought he had a British accent at times.
I'm wondering if they may have got a British actor to try playing American, and he was just slipping in and out of his accent.
Maybe. Yeah, I was wondering if I was mishearing that. So, where to watch? So, oh, sorry, did you watch this? It looks like you did. And what did you think?
I thought it was okay. I mean, it was better than expected, but I would say it was like just above middle of the road for me. It was entertaining. Dragged a little bit here and there, but like, yeah, all in all, I'd say it was like, I'm definitely not disappointed I watched it.
Absolutely. I thought that it was a really fun little movie. Definitely not going to grace I don't know, maybe it will grace somebody's top 10 or top 20, but it was a surprise. As Brandon Orlick said from the Exploding Heads podcast, because he was the one that recommended this to me, and then I recommended it to Scott, this movie had no business being as good as it was. And I absolutely agree with that statement. You really, like, walking out of this movie, I was like, shit, like, I thought this was going to be a lot worse. It's available on Vudu, Google, Hoopla, Prime, and, there's something else here now. I've never seen this one before. Oh, no, sorry, just Microsoft Store. They just have a new logo for it. So Microsoft Store for United States.
All right. Well, these next two are yours as well.
Oh, you haven't seen these either?
Nope.
Oh, okay. So 32 Malasana Street. Did I say that right?
I think it's
Malasana Street, 2020. It's a Shutter watch, but it is a Spanish film. I'm trying to remember now. I've seen so many. I believe it's a Spanish film, and I'm pretty sure Scott hasn't watched it because it's subtitled, and he wouldn't be able to watch it at work. Is that kind of where you're at, my friend?
Yeah, because I don't get it nearly as many times to watch the subtitled films. I gotta wait till I get home, and when I get home, sometimes I just don't have the time to watch movies as much as I'd like.
Well, he's busy with his important Scott pop horror and ladies and
oh yeah,
and all the pussy in his house.
Yeah,
all those kitty cats everywhere. Inspired by real events, the story centers around a family in the 1970s who settle into the Madrid neighborhood of Malasana, where their new house will become the worst of their nightmares. So it's based on a true story. I didn't actually research it on a haunting. It's a haunted house. Right? This is a ghost story in the nutshell. I really enjoyed it. Very easy watch, very likable characters. The ending, I believe, is following the path of a lot of possession ghost stories this year, which isn't fully happy. They kind of make it a little bit more edgy. So yeah, it's on Shudder, Prime Video, and then Amazon Shudder. So if you have the add-on Shudder feature for your Amazon, it is there. So yeah, if you get a chance, check it out. If you like ghost stories, you'll dig this. Definitely worth the watch, but it is subtitled. And then the next one, because I'll just hammer them out so that way Scotty doesn't have to, be too bored while I go over this and all my other rants of the day and my other opinions that people really need to know about, is The Bridge Curse. So this is a Japanese film, I believe. And it's a 2020. It's a kind of a mix between found footage but not found footage. And it's basically another ghost story. You're looking at a bridge that is cursed. Shock faint on that one. And I know, Scott, try to hold back your shock on that amazing title connected to it. So 4 years after 5 students mysteriously committed suicide after taking part in a courage test on the Ghost Bridge, a reporter and a videographer are back to see what happened. And of course, there's a twist in it. It is subtitled. I'll be honest, some of the characters are super annoying. The first act is a little challenging to get through, but then it gets a lot better. So it is available on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, I recommend checking it out.
Yep, this is one that I was planning on watching before we recorded, but I did not get a chance to.
So, well, I would say watch it eventually. I don't think it's that good of a found footage, to be honest with you. Like, there's better found, because it walks the line between found footage and non-found footage, and it doesn't do either one either well. But the ghost story behind it is cool.
Okay, yeah, because I'll probably watch it because I've become, like, my goal now is if there are enough good 2020 watches, I'm going to try to hit 200 by the end of the year.
Nice. That's awesome.
So I'll probably throw this one on because if you liked it, then I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's worth it, but know that the first act is annoying.
All right, good to know. Yeah, so I guess I can take the next one because we both did watch this one. This is also one that is available on Netflix, and it is called Cadaver. And this is a post-apocalyptic film that it's pretty much in the starving aftermath of a nuclear disaster. A family of 3 attends a charitable event at a hotel, which takes a dark turn when people start to disappear. And basically, this hotel is like a walk around and follow character play. Like, so people like you have all these actors in this hotel, and you pretty much just follow whoever you're interested in, and you hear their story. Well, while that's going on, fucked up shit happens.
Yeah, I felt like it was a little predictable. You kind of knew what was going to happen, but it was fun.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me different version of The Platform.
Yes. Yeah. And it makes sense maybe that's Netflix jam this year. That's what they're picking up.
Yeah, because I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really well done. I'm not sure where it'll be on my list yet because I've been lazy and haven't been actually ranking the last 15 movies. So I got to go and do that one of these days.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I definitely recommend this one. It's a very good watch, and you can watch it subtitled or dubbed. Apparently, my Netflix just automatically dubs everything when I watch it now for some reason.
Yeah, I find that too. I always, except for the Bridge Curse, it wasn't dubbed. I think if dubbing's an option, they just assume when it's in North America that you're too stupid to read subtitles.
I guess
dubbing, I guess, right? That's what they do now.
Oh, but yeah, do you want me to take the next one as well? I mean, I know we
go
both
ahead.
watched.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. The next one though, this is probably one of my surprise favorites of the year. And this was released on Shudder, and it is the Mortuary Collection. And this is a new 2020 horror anthology that is about this mortician or funeral parlor. I don't know what the head host of those are, but He's the head of the funeral parlor, and he is telling this woman who is trying to get a job there different stories of some of the deaths that have happened in here. And each story is, I would say, good to great. Like, I did not find any of these bad. One of them was pretty funny because it was kind of a get your comeuppance type story.
Mhm.
It has Clancy Brown is playing the caretaker, and oh my god, if they ever, ever do a Phantasm remake, get fucking Clancy Brown, because holy crap,
Yeah,
he
man.
was playing his best tall man impression in this movie.
Yeah, I
And
couldn't agree with you more.
it was so impressive. Like, I was so happy. You could tell he was just having a blast with this movie.
He was really good.
And yeah, I just loved every single one of these stories. That was just, the wraparound was really good, had a nice twist to it. Every story, like I said, just worked really well with it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really loved it. I enjoyed it immensely. I thought that it was a great updated anthology. There's one story about a young man that I thought was very funny.
Mhm.
I thought the twist at the end was very good. The final story and the wraparound, how
Yeah,
they
'cause I
played
didn't see
into
that
each
coming.
other. Yeah, I didn't see that coming either, and I thought that was really clever. Yeah, great film. Great film. And it's on Shutter. It's on Shutter, regular Shutter, and Shutter through Amazon if you have the add-on on Amazon, and it's totally worth the watch if you get a chance to check it out.
Yep, I've been telling everybody that has like said, "Is this any good?" I'm going, watch it right away. This movie is amazing. It's actually in my top 10. It's my number 7.
Awesome.
I loved it
Awesome.
that much.
Awesome.
Well, and the next one is I think one of 2 films on this list that you have not seen,
Yeah.
and this is my theater going experience on Friday. I went to go see The Empty Man. I had a choice between Come Play or The Empty Man or Possessor if I decided to go to a theater that was about 45 minutes away from me, but wanted to stay close to the ones that I usually frequented. And I didn't get out in time to see Come Play, so I decided I'll check out The Empty Man. Well, first, I guess I'll talk about the theater experience. Pretty awesome, because it was definitely social distancing at its finest, because I had the entire theater to myself for this movie,
Nice.
which is freaking awesome. So I just like would message you here and there and not have to worry about it
If you
being
had a
rude.
date, you could have banged.
Right? Exactly. But yep, I was so happy because I got my big old bucket of popcorn and got my soda and or pop and
Ah,
pop. But I had them covered in their good old movie theater butter, and then I was hoping to get their salt shaker or whatever, but because of COVID, they don't do the salt shakers right now, so they gave me like a little little tiny cup full of like salt packets, which actually I kind of like better.
I know, because you don't have to deal with that cesspool of all that shit all over the place. The shakers.
Yeah, like the crap all over the place,
Oh my god.
and like when I'm salting my popcorn, I don't have to like dump like 10 gallons of salt on top and then try to mix it
Yep.
in. It's
Yep.
like I just dump a little bit on, eat it,
Yep.
dump a little bit on, eat it.
Yep.
Like it worked out so much better. I like it that way. Um, and yeah, like you get to pick your seats and everything like that, which this theater doesn't normally do. So like they set it up for COVID. Um, but yeah, the theater experience was great. Everybody there was awesome. The way everything was taken care of, they had people in keeping everything clean. So I'm very happy to see that. The movie, this one took me a couple of days to decide how I thought about it.
You know what it looks like from just looking at the synopsis on Letterboxd? It looks like fucking Slender Man.
It's very the story, like it kind of reminds me of that in a way.
Wow, that's interesting.
And that's kind of why I was kind of sold on this, because I'm like, oh, this is kind of like a new urban legend style movie. Sweet, I'm gonna check this out. And yeah, it kind of reminded me of like the little bit of a myth of Slender Man, but it was I felt it was very Lovecraftian in a way, because there was
Yeah.
like cults and other weird shit that was going on in this movie, and it was just like really freaking bizarre with what was going on. To like I said, it took me a couple days to even put it on my letterbox.
It's a long runtime, 137 minutes.
Yeah, 2 hours, 17 minutes long. That's not counting all the trailers beforehand.
Oh man, like that's a really long time for a horror movie.
Yeah, and that's like my biggest issue is that stayed stayed its welcome for a little too long. Before it even showed the title card of the Empty Man, I think 20, 25 minutes had gone by.
Nah, that's a long time.
And it was like nothing, and it like barely tied into the main story. So I was just like, as cool as that was to watch, didn't really need that.
Yeah.
But all in all, the acting was good. The story was very confusing and convoluted, so it kind of brought it down for me. But like, I would say it's not worth a theater watch, but I would definitely say if it's streaming somewhere, check it out because it is very interesting. And if you're a Lovecraft fan, you may get more enjoyment out of it than most others because of just kind of how weird and bizarre and out there it is.
Cool. Nobody. So sorry. So I guess it's just theaters right now.
Yep, theaters, and I believe the way things are going with theaters, I believe they'll like probably release it to VOD shortly after now too.
Okay.
For the theaters that aren't open in other states.
Cool. So Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight is available on Netflix.
Yes, Netflix just kind of pumped them out this year.
Yeah, Netflix is just putting out this month. It's a good movie. It's a Polish film. It's a slasher. It's not reinventing the wheel. Definitely took some strong inspirations from Hatchet.
There's a couple strong inspirations I can talk about.
Right. And you know what? That's fine. Like, fuck. Like, how many times can you do a slasher, right?
Yeah.
The characters in it are quite likable. The story's pretty likable. I honestly enjoyed it. Perfect runtime for a free watch on Netflix. And it's dubbed. If you prefer dubbing, I don't think you can go wrong.
Yeah, I found this one just very fun, easy to digest slasher film.
Yeah.
And like it literally wears its influences on its sleeves to the point where some of the kills were straight up copied from other movies. Like
yes.
There's a Friday the 13th kill that everyone would recognize. And there is a Wrong Turn 2 kill that is like exact same kill, like to the camera work.
You're such a fucking nerd. Excuse me. In Wrong Turn 2, there was a kill. And I just feel like it was repeated in this film here. My name's Scott Crawford.
You shush.
I'm going to go pro in magic.
I gotta say, though, we're what, 30-something minutes into the episode, and this is the first you're picking on me. Are you okay?
You know what? I'm still suffering from Friday.
I just realized that. I'm like, wow, she hasn't picked on me till just now.
And let me tell you, I have such a crush on these dudes, and so does my friend Anne, that we're going out to another event this week so we can see them.
I knew you would be. I knew you would be.
They're cool dudes. They're cool dudes.
Oh, Heather's going to be lit again.
Well, I don't know. It's on a Thursday. Who am I kidding? Yeah.
Yeah, right. Come on now.
Right? No one should listen to me. I have a substance problem, right, Scott?
You deserve it. You work your ass off.
Yeah, that was a shout out to people. If you know, you know. I'll let you take the next one because somebody watched this.
Ooh, yes, because I was spatial.
Because he's a fancy pants.
So yeah, last night was, well, I guess I put the wrong year on this one because it's technically a 2021 movie. Ooh. But yeah, last night apparently Shudder was doing a whole day event, like doing like interviews and showing movies and.
Why was yesterday special?
Yeah, I mean, because for us horror nerds, it's like our holiday.
It's our holiday.
It's the one time of year, like we may watch horror movies all year long, but it's the time of year where we just go fucking nuts.
You know what? I watched one horror movie yesterday. One.
I watched, one.
That's all I had time for.
Yeah. What did you end up watching yesterday?
Housebound.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and I didn't put it on here. We don't need to talk about it. We have enough fucking movies. You added 18 movies onto your older movies that we need to fucking get through. So, yeah, just talk about Lucky quickly.
Yeah, but yeah, this movie was
Don't spoil it.
I'm not going to.
Okay. You spoil a lot of movies.
I know. But this was Shudder doing a sneak preview of a film they will be releasing to stream next year. It was only a one-time stream. It was at like 10:30 last night, so anybody that had Shudder could watch it. But yeah, it was called Lucky, and it was about a author who pretty much has to deal with this home invasion that happens almost every single night. And it's very bizarre, kind of hard to follow at first. I was really
Sounds like After Midnight.
kind of, but not really. Like where After Midnight, I loved to death because of the way like it handled everything. This one was just very bizarre and almost it was kind of confusing at first because I was like, I don't know if this is supposed to be like a horror comedy or what, but I'm kind of laughing at the scenario in the beginning. But then it gets a little more serious and ends up kind of being a metaphor on domestic abuse.
You
And
spoiled the fucking movie for everyone, Scott.
oh, that totally spoils everything.
So, do you recommend watching it in 2021 for all those people that didn't watch it last night?
Well, if you have Shudder, why not? It's there. It's not bad. It's worth a watch, but I wouldn't say it's like it's gonna blow anybody away.
Like you blow people away?
Yeah, it's because it's Smoke Show, baby.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Ladies be calling. Ladies be calling. So that ends our 2020s because we've been slacking a little bit, but there hasn't been much. And honestly, we're getting more picky.
Yeah.
I'm getting less picky with my drinks because I was willing to drink anything that anyone gave me on fucking Friday night. Hey, Heather, here's some rubbing alcohol. Sounds great. But I'm getting more picky with my movies. So, you know.
Yep, I'm getting more picky with my 2020 movies. With my older movies, if I might just sometimes just scroll through and just be like, that cover looks interesting. I'll throw it on.
Yeah, you're definitely less selective than I am with movies, but definitely more selective in life choices. Older movies. I'm gonna just clump these three together. The Nun 2018, Annabelle Comes Home 2019, and The Curse of La Llorona 2019. So I decided that I was going to finish off the Conjuring universe because I decided that's what I was going to do. The Nun, not bad. Like, I've never seen a group of people that chase after a demon more than the people in this film.
Oh my God.
They'll have the most fucked up shit happen to them, and then they're like, all right, we might as well just stick around and see what we got to do. Like, one dude gets buried alive. He gets dug out by his I guess you could say the sister that is with him. And then he's like, all right, we got to go find that demon. I'd be like, no, we need to get the fuck out of here.
I'd be like, I'm out. I'm done. Because out of these three, this is the only one I've seen.
You've seen this one?
Yeah, this is the only one of these three.
Have you never seen people that are like, oh my God, is that a demon? Demon, where did you go? And like chases after the demon.
Right. And the demon, like Valak or whatever its name is, that thing's freaky looking. I wouldn't be chasing after that damn thing. You kidding me?
Right. And then of course the ending ties into The Conjuring.
Yeah.
It was fine. Anyway, Annabelle Comes Home. Another movie that was interesting. Based off the Warrens, who apparently weren't that nice people that I found out this year.
Oh no.
Yeah, right. But anyway, the movie paints them in a different light. This movie was fine. Basically, Annabelle gets out of her crate and causes havoc. I would say that this is a good movie to introduce, maybe older children to. Like, it's scary and there's some scary stuff that happens, but the ending is like uplifting and no one actually dies, so it's not really that upsetting.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because I've never seen any of the Annabelle ones.
The Annabelle ones, I preferred the first two to this one. Okay, but I think to watch them in the series is interesting. Like, this had a really good like haunting stuff like that. It was a good ghost story, but it's definitely, and I would say this is something that you could introduce kids to depending on their age and depending on your kid, because the ending is not upsetting. That basically the good guys win. So it's, fluffy and fun. The Curse of La Llorona, I've never met a stupider group of people that were in this movie. Like, one of the things that one of the little girls, like the little girl does halfway through this movie just fucking made I was like, what the hell is going on? There were some definitely creepy parts in it, but just the poor character decision making of that movie ruined it for me. And the acting was mediocre at best. Yeah, like honestly, I enjoy The Conjuring 1 and 2. I enjoyed the first two Annabelle movies. These three, I'm glad I watched them to finish off the series. Nothing to write home about.
Well, I was saying just in time because they did announce that Conjuring 3 is right around the corner.
Yeah, so now I'm all ready. I've
Yep.
seen them all. I'm up to date. I can't wait to do more demon hunting and make more. These are just movies of people making poor decisions. Fuck, I could be in one of these movies.
Right.
Like my life story. The Slender Man or Slender Man 2018. I watched this movie because I thought it can't be that bad. I want to assure everybody listening to this podcast it is that bad. Do not watch this movie. Do not spend any time on this movie. It doesn't even
Wow, it's
follow the
that
legend.
bad?
Oh yeah, it's pretty bad. It doesn't even follow the legend of center, like the creepypasta shit.
Yeah.
Like it basically takes drawings from creepypasta and tries to incorporate it in the film, and it tries to do this overly artsy stuff. Like, props to the young ladies that are in it. Hopefully, it starts their career, and it gives them something that they can move off of. The one girl was in Ouija and was in this as well, or Ouija Origins and this as well. Hopefully that allows her to continue to build her acting portfolio, but it was not a good film. It is not worth watching. It doesn't follow the legend barely at all, or it kind of does in bits and pieces, but it's it's shitty. It deserves its 1.2 star rating on Letterboxd. There's a reason why it has that rating.
Wow.
Next one, the Babadook. Besides wanting to kind of choke out that kid for the first half of the movie.
Yep.
And I messaged Scott and I said, I've heard about the Babadook. I feel like I need to watch it. It's 2014, well-respected, well-known film in our community. But this kid, Scott, he's like, I know. I'm like, I don't know if I can get through this. He's like, it's worth it. You just got to stick with it. There's a reason. Yep. And thank you for Scott for knowing what he's talking about, because there is a reason, and I'm glad I stuck with it. Exceptionally well done movie. One of the best movies of, like, if I was to redo my top 100, this movie definitely would have been in my top 20. I thought it was so well done.
That is awesome because I found this very well done. The way it kind of covers everything, like it can be a monster movie or the other thing I'm not going to get into to spoil, but yeah, like it's just, I thought everything was really good, and I mean, it was a good jumping off point for the director that did The Nightingale.
Absolutely, and you can definitely see the similarities between the two films, in terms of just the filming style of it and the storytelling of it. Good character development. You really felt for the mother and the son in this. And yeah, it was well acted, and the kid was very good. Once I understood the purpose of his role, I could appreciate him a lot more.
Yeah.
But I definitely glad I sat through with it and went forward with it.
And I'm surprised you actually listened to me and sat through it.
Well, I figured this is pretty well liked, and it wasn't Do Not Reply, which was a piece of garbage that you suggested before. So, when you said to me, just try to get through it, I thought, okay, he must be talking sense, and if he isn't, then this is just something else you can make fun of him about him later. But it's
so true.
It was absolutely a good call. So the next is Don't Look Now, 1973, with Donald Sutherland, who is a smoke show in this fucking movie. Damn.
Yeah, he was a good looking dude back then.
Man,
he's still good looking for his age.
Good looking older gentleman, but holy fuck. Anyway, besides that part of the movie, which there's a very graphic sex scene, like for the 7, it's basically like a porn.
I don't know if I got to that point.
Oh, wow, you missed the good stuff. It's very, very slow, so I could see people not enjoying it. I liked the story behind it. I enjoyed the storytelling piece. I feel like the strong acting from Donald Sutherland and his co-actress, or secondary actress, I guess you could say, or supporting actress. Let's see what her name was. Donald Sutherland, Julia Christie, Hilary Mason, Cecilia Mattina, Massimo Cerrato. Yeah, like a lot of Italian folks were in this movie. Excellent film. But you do have to like 70s movies, and you do have to like slow burns. It's 110 running time, and it feels like 110 minutes. It is available on Amazon. iTunes, Google, and Crave, and Amazon. I guess Amazon to rent, Amazon Prime. Oh no, I guess they just list Amazon Video as a separate thing for Canada. Anyway,
Oh, that's weird.
so totally worth watching. I recommend it, but you do have to like 70s films.
Yeah, because I got I'd say about a quarter of the way through it, and then just wasn't feeling it. Like, and this was a while ago, so I'm gonna give it another shot. Because yeah, if you like I said, a lot of the films that you like, I pretty much I either like them as much as you, or don't feel like I wasted my time with them. Like
Yeah,
unlike some of the things I suggest to you sometimes.
that's because I have better taste.
We shall see.
But I think the more I've been watching more movies this year, there's a theme to the 70s films and a way that they're filmed. Same with the 80s, same with the 90s, same with the 2000s. Like if you want, and I'm no film, critic or anything like that, but there's a way the plot is set up, and there's a way the stories are developed that are very similar. Because Alice, Sweet Alice is actually very slow too.
Yeah.
Stuff in Alice, Sweet Alice doesn't actually happen until my face. It's funny. I have this like background that I'm trying to get rid of, and my face keeps fading out when I'm talking to Scott and Zoom, and I'm like, anyway, no one can see it, but it looks really, really funny. So I want you to imagine me looking invisible at times and how funny that looks. But yeah, I definitely feel like you got to enjoy 70 movies to enjoy this one.
Yeah, but I do enjoy a lot of 70s films, so like I think I might just not been in the right mood for it.
Because you didn't like this.
I didn't even finish it, so I can't even say I didn't like it. Smart ass.
He's like, shut the fuck up, Heather.
We're gonna fight.
Like, I'm worried about the election, Heather. You need to be sensitive to me right now.
No, like I said,
and your maple syrup.
Well, I'll say either way, I'm not worried about the election because I mean, if things go south, like I said, I'm just smuggling myself over the border.
I like to see you do this. I feel like that would be a real challenge for you.
I'm gonna shave my beard, put on a top hat, bring a jug of maple syrup, walking over to the border, start drinking it, and just be like, "Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what about?
What's this all about?"
You know what you'd be like? What about them Leafs? Hope we win a cup this year. You'll be like, son of a bitch, you're Canadian, and you come. You must.
We are the North. Go Raptors.
Yeah, we the North.
Oh shit. Okay. See, I gotta practice this.
Right. We the North. We don't say R.
We the North, eh?
We don't throw in unnecessary words.
We the North, eh?
Hey, you know what? Our political climate has its issues too.
Oh, it does.
It really does. Like, but I just think that in comparison, we don't deny that COVID-19 is still not happening. Like, there's just certain things that, like, we're a couple steps ahead of, right? So anyway, you watch these guys, so I'll let you go through your 18 movies that you felt like you needed to add.
Well, I added the exact same amount older movies you did.
Yeah, but I'm cooler.
Oh, you shush. But the one I figured I'd start off with is one that we both had seen, and that is the Blair Witch pseudo sequel remake.
Yeah, I don't know what would you consider that?
I would call it. I would
sequel.
Yeah, I guess I'd call it a sequel because it's the dude is like looking for his sister Heather, who was in the first movie.
And they're not pretending, like they're saying the first movie existed.
Yeah.
Right. So.
But like it just kind of almost felt like it was repetitive in some ways.
Yes.
But I'm gonna go out here and say it now. I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this. This movie is better than the original, like the first one.
So for all your hate mail, you can send to Scott Crawford is a smoke show at gmail.com.
I mean, we'll get into it more in our main topic, but I could not stand that first movie.
Oh, Heather's really annoying in that movie.
I was grinding my teeth watching it, just trying to finish it. Just going.
I like grinding.
Yeah, you do.
Teeth. Right.
But I just I like this one more, mainly because of the way that they built up the myth of the Blair Witch even more, with a lot of like, it makes it more unrealistic with what happens.
Yes.
But I kind of like that because like the way like all of a sudden you are never finding your way out of these woods and it's continuously nighttime and weird shit just continues to happen and it's doing this to people that actually were fucking well prepared for going and trying to find someone in the woods.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Like, and it just had some really good jump scares, and some really creepy moments. I do agree with you though, because you had said this to me in the message, but the third act kind of was a mess.
Ugh. Like, I feel like in the third act, they were like, let's just do some shitty camera work for the last fucking 20 minutes. Like,
Well,
oh my God. Like, it was such a promising film.
yeah, and the way I felt was they're probably like, we should do an homage to the original, and let's just grab a camera and just go shake, 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 shake.
Yeah, I feel like that's totally what they did, to be quite honest with you.
Because God, that's what it felt like to me, was like the
It was
shaky camera work from the
painful.
first one.
It was painful, that part. But you know what? I agree with you. It actually wasn't that bad of a movie.
Yeah, like it got a lot of hate, and I'm gonna be in the minority because I freaking love this one way more than the original. And
I wonder what people are going to be mad about. My political rant at the beginning of this episode, or you hating Blair Witch or liking Blair Witch 2016?
Probably
Which one's more controversial?
Oh, here's another controversial take. The Blair Witch 2 is better than the Blair Witch.
Oh, fuck, you won. No one's going to care about my political rant now. Just to be clear, Scott thinks, what is it, Blair Witch Book of Shadows?
Yep.
I can't agree with you on that one, my friend.
I love that movie compared to the mess that is part 1.
Wow, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Everyone that was mad about my political rant is now pissed with you. They're all like, fuck it, Heather. You're right, Scott's the problem on this podcast.
I will give my
I'm just kidding, Scott.
Well, I know you are, but I'll give my more positive notes to the original Blair Witch when we get to it in the main topic, when we talk about it. But I just to know, I do not like that movie one bit. But yeah, the next movie I ended up watching, I was trying to do all found footage just because there's a lot that I've never seen. And
when we go into a theme, Scott fucking goes all in.
I do, because it gives me something to focus on, because I don't know what to look for when I'm trying to watch a movie, like when I have no movie in mind. So like when there is a focus like of a theme, I'm going, I can kind of narrow it down to these and see if I can find these on our apps. But Chernobyl Diaries, I watched on a good friend's Plex, and yeah, it's not found footage, but it was in a found footage category.
Way to go. See, Luciani.
There was like literally no found footage at all. It was just a regular horror film. But
we have to talk to C. Luciani about
we
that.
gotta talk to that skunk. But yeah, this movie was all right. It's about this group of Americans that come over to I forget like the name of the country, but like they end up meeting up with the one guy's brother, and he's like, hey, I just found this dude that it takes tours to Chernobyl, and he said he'd do that for us. So they all hitch a ride with him. They go out there, all of course typical horror movie tropes. Van breaks down and weird scary shit starts happening because the wildlife out there is a little bit radiated, a little bit untamed,
a little bit wild,
but it's just them pretty much just like running around the radiated areas of Chernobyl, and just like it just gets worse and worse and worse for them. It wasn't too bad. It was entertaining. But I won't talk much on that one. The next one though, this was a rough watch. The Poughkeepsie Tapes of 2007.
I thought it was Poughkeepsie.
I think it's just Poughkeepsie.
I think it's Poughkeepsie.
I mean, I'll plow something, but
yeah, you will. Yeah, you will. Anyway,
but the Poughkeepsie Tapes is basically this kind of like faux documentary about a serial killer who has left his house after being almost caught, and the investigators find a closet full of these tapes, and they start kind of going through them and putting pieces together. And you're pretty much just like you have like the interviews with the investigators, and then they'll like cut to a videotape, and you'll see like stuff that happened, like he would record his victims and what he would do to his victims. And this felt real. Like I actually looked up, like, is this a real thing? Like, is this just like a serial killer that this is based off of or anything? And no, like I guess the filmmakers say it's real, but no one's been able to confirm or deny it. And but man, this there were some very uncomfortable scenes in this, like just like holy shit. Like this one got me. This is when I was like, okay, I really like found footage when it's done right, and this did it right. This is really good.
And you knew then, you were like, found footage. We're meant to be.
Yes. Now I'm gonna bang it.
Nice. Nice.
But
and give your real name and number at the end of the evening.
And I will call it back.
You will call it back. I don't care if they call me back.
Oh.
I got what I needed.
That's true. See, I got what I needed. I just want more. I'm greedy.
You're a relationship material. That's why.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, you really are.
I know.
If there's anyone here that's like, nod at me, you, my friend, you're for life. I'm for the night.
That's so true. Oh, that's why we balance each other so well.
Yes, that's why.
Not anything else. Just the
nothing else. This that area we just connect so well on. All right, get to your other 18 movies.
Yes, I was gonna say, but I highly recommend Poughkeepsie Tapes. Check it out. Another found footage I watched was Exists from 2014, which is about it's pretty much a found footage film about Bigfoot.
Oh,
and
cool.
This one is these kids go to their uncle's hunting cabin for a weekend, and accidentally at night kind of stumble across a Bigfoot that is pissed off and fucks their world up.
Oh dear.
And it's pretty good. Some of the characters are just like,
oh
really
shit, I've
dumb.
seen this.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I've seen this.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Yeah, it's low budget, right?
Yeah,
I've seen it. It's not bad.
I was saying freaking Bigfoot's smart as hell in this movie.
Yeah, he is. He's like, hold up, motherfuckers.
He's terrifying.
Right? Yeah, no, he's good. I like this movie. I remember seeing it a long time ago, but I did watch it. I think before I met you.
Yeah, because I'd never even heard of this one.
There was a time pre-Scott.
Wow, it doesn't even seem like, because it seems like I've been friends with you for like ever.
No, I feel that way too. That's why I started drinking more this year.
Oh wow! What can I say? I do bring people to drink more.
You bring out the party.
I do.
Scott gets the party started.
That's right.
Oh, now he's flashing. No, Scott, that's for your OnlyFans.
Smoke show, baby.
What are you doing? You know what? I almost wish we released this video because he was like stripping. I feel like we could get more like, and it looks like you lost weight too. Like, not that matters, but like, have you been still like working out and losing your weight and shit?
A little bit here and there.
He's been banging a lot of chicks, and that's why you've lost so much weight.
That's totally it. More like I've been giving my hand exercises.
So your biceps are massive, right?
Oh man, and I can grip like no fucking other.
That's good. Hey, you know what? If you feel good afterwards, that's all that matters.
And
right?
I've become ambidextrous too.
So you're like, it feels like it's somebody else. You're like, threesome.
Well, the best tip is to sit on your hand for about 45 minutes till your hand goes completely numb, and then grab onto it and start jerking, because then it just feels like someone else.
But my hand hurts when it falls asleep.
Well, you gotta get to the point where it gets so numb that you can't even feel anything. You can flick it and you don't even feel it.
That sounds like I'd rather just buy some drinks for a guy at a bar and hope that things happen.
Well, I mean, you probably have more luck doing that than I would. But I mean,
hey, you don't know if you bought some drinks for a guy at a bar, they might be into you.
Well, I'll say like I'd probably have better luck buying drinks for a guy at a bar.
You probably would actually. Like, I don't think that you're a good looking dude. Like, I think women are just so tired of being hit on. I think personally, if someone buys me a drink at a bar, I'm all like, awesome, let's chat. But I think women get super offended by it, or they get like intimidated, or they think it comes with like, I don't know, attachments, and maybe it does, but like, I guess it really depends where you're at with your, you know, sexuality and what you're interested in doing and stuff too. And no judgment, but man, like, you buy me a drink. Sounds like we're going to be chatting. Right?
Oh, so true.
So did everyone hear that? Anyone from Hamilton, Ontario that goes to Abston's nightclub, you see me? Buy me a drink.
Heather will chat your ear off.
Conversation out of it.
Yep, I was gonna say you'll at least be able to have a good conversation throughout the night.
Yes, and I'm a great conversationalist, so I'm sure we'll have a great time. Anyway, we're never going to get through these movies. It's all my fault. But that's
Oh, all right. So I'll try to go through these next ones. I think we're talking about the first one tonight on this one,
yeah,
but
we are.
Grave Encounters 2 from 2012. Um, yeah, this one wasn't too bad. I really loved Grave Encounters 1. Like that was one of my
Oh yeah,
favorite found footage films. Um, this one wasn't bad once you could get past the dude bro college mentality of the
bro,
first act.
dude,
Oh, and it
Jaeger
had
bomb, Jaeger bomb.
and like just yeah, it was just like such dude bro bullshit. But like the funny thing is because these are both Canadian films, part 1 and 2, and this one has the Canadian actor. I don't know his real name, but he played one of the hockey bros in Letterkenny, and he was like a main character in that. Like that was in
Oh,
every episode.
nice.
Yeah, because I was like, hey, I recognize him, and yep, that is totally his voice.
That's awesome.
But yeah, this one was once I got past that first act, like it was more Grave Encounters, and I was really digging it. I really enjoyed it. There were some things I didn't find believable towards the end with someone they found. What are you doing?
Sorry, I'm playing with the screen. Anyway, you didn't believe it was too believable with who they found. I thought that was a great tie-in to the first one.
It was a good tie-in, but I just don't believe that that guy would have survived that whole time in
Of
there.
course not. It's a movie, Scott.
Yeah, but I just it
You're like, but it doesn't make sense.
it doesn't. It does not. But yeah, I recommend checking it out as well. It was a good one. The last one I will talk about is The Last Broadcast from 1998, which I believe was, I guess, what inspired the Blair Witch Project. I could be wrong on that, but it's very similar in so many ways. It's about this TV show host that's not doing so well, and he's trying to like become popular, so he's kind of doing like a reality TV type thing, and he gets his buddies together and finds like I think it was like a psychic to come out to the woods with him because they're trying to hunt down legendary. I think it was the Jersey Devil is what they were trying to hunt down, and they go to the woods. They get lost in the woods, and a lot of similar shit happens that happens in Blair Witch. Um, but this one, I know people love it. This is one of those I just couldn't stand the characters again. The acting was pretty bad. And I just felt it boring.
You just didn't dig it.
Yeah, it just wasn't my jam. Like, not something I could get into. But that's pretty much all I have to say about that. It's not something I would recommend.
No, so it's probably a good movie, guys, because Scott's just mad that his drama club didn't do it.
I mean, it looks like they did.
Like, you don't think it was them?
Nope. I think it was imitators.
Man, out there they intimidate your drama club. What the fuck, huh?
I know, right? It's bullshit.
Bullshit, Scott's Drama Club. Well, that was our long list of what we've been watching. I hope you enjoyed us drowning on about the fucking Conjuring universe and Slender Man and Empty Man. That sounds just like Slender Man.
Right.
And our political rant too that I had, and Scott saying he likes Blair Witch 2016 and Book of Shadows more.
Fuck Blair Witch.
Blair Witch. You know, Scott's just bringing guns a-blazing tonight. Like, here I was, thought I was being controversial because I'm all like, blah, blah, blah. The election's done by this point, but I hope things are better, blah, blah, blah. And Scott's all like, fuck you, Blair Witch Project.
I hate that movie. Stupid.
Stupid movie. Stupid. All right, so we'll break into what we've been listening to. So I found this podcast because, as I talked about before, I went on a ghost tour back in October, beginning of October, and they had a podcast, and I thought to myself, you know, self,
I should listen to this.
I talk to myself, you know, self. I thought, you know, I should listen to this podcast and support them. And I like ghost stories, so it's called Haunted Talks, the official podcast of the Haunted Walks Incorporated. It's a Toronto-based podcast, and it talks about haunted stories of, you know, various ghost stories from the United States and Canada. It's a really fun podcast, actually. There was one where they had the tour guides on, and the tour guides talked about fucked up shit that's happened to them on their tours.
Oh, really?
And it's about an hour long, and it's really fucking good. So it's you can find it on Podcast Addict, and it's simply Haunted Talks. And of course, they like promo their haunted walks and shit like that. So you have to put up a little bit of promo, but it's a fun little podcast. The episodes range from about 30 minutes to an hour in length, so they're not 3 hours like Scott and I. So you can actually listen to it in a reasonable period of time, and I recommend checking it out.
That's nice. That sounds actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun. You would probably really like the one about the ghost tour people.
That sounds fascinating.
Yeah, it's cool. Some of the shit that happens to them, like, and it just doesn't happen to him. It happens to people on the walk with them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so like it's real fucked up shit.
That's cool. Well, maybe not cool, but that's
it is cool though. It is cool.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk about one that is pretty new. It's only been out just a little over a month now, and that is the Horror Frequency, which is a pop horror podcast. So I had to kind of give some shout out to my the website that brought me on to be a writer,
and that you're also editor of
Pop Gaming. Which hopefully we'll be doing more of that soon because we've kind of just been busy. Oh, we don't have many writers, so we've been really busy, like trying to run our lives as well.
So when you're a smoke show,
it just kind of happens.
You know, when you're just this hot.
Yeah.
Which you did look really hot in your Halloween costume.
Oh, well, thank you.
You know, the selfies you took were fire.
I've learned from the best.
I wouldn't kick you out of bed for eating crackers.
Wait, you wouldn't kick you out of bed for what?
Eating crackers.
Oh, sweet.
Unless they were regular crackers, because I can't eat them. Like if you had
they'd be gluten-free, of course.
Well, then you'll stay.
Also, I got to be respectful.
I'll even remember your name.
Wow, you don't even remember it right now. I'm impressed.
Anyway.
Oh my gosh, you are good at just taking me completely side railing me tonight.
Oh, I'm good at side railing you. That's right.
Oh my god.
Such a sex hound. Anyway.
You are such a horn dog. I love it.
I am. It's true. It's very true.
Oh, so what were we talking about? Oh yeah, the Horror Frequency.
Yeah, some podcast.
So yeah, this is the official pop horror podcast. Just called the Horror Frequency. It is available on Podcast Addict and pretty much any podcast catcher out there now. But it's a solo podcast with ghost host Anthony. Each episode is pretty short, actually. It's anywhere between 15 to 25 minutes long. I think his longest episode was 37 minutes. But he usually has guest hosts on. I think his first episode was by himself, just kind of laying the groundwork of what was to come of the show. Then he's had fellow writers on there. So we've had Tracy Allen and Tori Danielle Romero on there. So we've got
some pretty famous people.
Yeah, so we got two of the heads of pop horror on there, doing interviews with them, and then he's interviewed some indie actresses and actors, and been talking to some directors, and yeah, he's already up to 8 episodes with the show, and yeah, he's doing a really good job. I recommend giving this a giving this a watch or listen. I think it is on YouTube as well, so I guess you could watch it. I don't know if there's video or not, but definitely give it a check out. It's totally worth it, and it's unique in the way that he covers things.
Awesome. I'm glad that we've been sharing all these different podcasts. I feel like we're really broadening everybody's horizons.
I hope so. I'm glad, because we dig into a lot of podcasts, and I'm glad to just kind of just talk about these other ones that no one else really does.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we are going to take a brief break and hear from one of our other podcasting, I guess, friends, or however you want to phrase it. And after these messages, we'll be right back.
Did you ever see a film at such a young age it left you traumatized with cinematic wounds?
Necrophilia.
It's a dead issue, man. Don't push it. Cinema Psyops is a weekly podcast documenting an ongoing experiment on the mind of an unwilling test subject.
No one should have to watch this movie.
Oh, no one should have to watch this?
No one should have to watch this movie.
Surprisingly, it's not a topic that a lot of people really want to tackle.
I'm shocked, prudes.
I know, really.
Right?
It's the next sexual frontier that no one wants to explore.
I am, in the most sincerest of senses, disappointed in you.
It takes a powerful goddess like Connie, jam her arm down the monster's throat and kill it. Oh, I'm still tripping out over that. Even as a kid, I was like, I gotta find a girl like that. Every week, I get a new look of disappointment that I never thought I could get out of her.
Unimaginable. At 12 years old, you should not be watching this movie.
Obviously.
At 13, you should not be. 14, you shouldn't be. I'm not entirely sure even 17-year-olds should be watching this.
Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean that you have the right to demand that it doesn't exist. Watching this film again, I had all of this like little nerd glee with everything that kept
little
popping
history
up.
doll popping up
absolutely.
at you.
So I totally loved this film.
Hey, I know why you couldn't see that. It's because your brain's warped from watching this shit at 12 years old.
Yeah, this is a rough movie. I told you ahead of time when we were getting ready to do it that it was going to be a rough
How could you watch
one.
this shit at 12?
Because physical wounds heal, cinematic ones don't. Listen to Cinema Psyops.
Welcome back to the history of found footage. Now, the most interesting thing about this topic is that this was both something that Scotty and I didn't necessarily care for.
Yeah. I have never really been that big of a fan. Like everything I had watched was kind of the mainstream, like theater style ones, like The Gallows and like Blair Witch, stuff like that. And yeah, I couldn't stand any of those, and never really seen any of the good ones.
And or ones that you connected with, right?
Yeah.
And I agree with you, but because of our good friends Flex, I was able to dive into some more found footage, and also I listened to Exploding Heads, and they covered a couple of found footage films this year, The Den, as well as The Bay, and just to name a few. And it made me go, you know what, maybe I need to look more into this. And I ended up really liking ones. And there was a couple that both Scott and I agreed on that were quite well done. And we decided that we would talk about them during this episode and just why we thought they were well done. But it's definitely a phenomenon that has happened with found footage. It's definitely been something in the horror genre that has been pushed and has really come to light and is quite profitable.
Yeah, very profitable.
So we're gonna dive into one article, not super long, but it just talks about the visual trends, a history of found footage genre by Roy Walsh. You can find it at videomaker.com. We'll of course be including the links to this article. So he starts off by talking about that one of the most popular film genres among indie filmmakers for the last 3 years. So I couldn't find the exact year that this was done. So I'm assuming this was done a couple of years ago when he said 3 years, because we've seen a surgent of found footage it's filmed since. It's found footage. The term found footage has grown to be a diverse topic among old school film purists and new and young talent looking to flood the industry regarding the legitimacy of a film that challenges the traditional hierarchy of established film crews in favor of cutting production costs to historically low funding thresholds. So, found footage has a dark history. There was another found footage that was more of a drama that was about a musician from the 1960s. I didn't choose to go in to talk about that. Instead, of course, we're going to talk about Cannibal Holocaust. Is widely regarded as the first genuine found footage film horror-wise, and is notorious for its scenes for graphic violence, sexual brutality, and including the actual footage of rainforest animals slaughtered on camera, which is quite uncomfortable.
Yeah.
The scene where they kill the turtle is pretty fucking disgusting.
Yeah, that's the only part I have a hard time watching, and thank God for the Blu-ray that Grindhouse released, because you can watch it without the animal footage.
Yeah, good for them for moving that forward and acknowledging that some people may not want to see that.
And they actually made it so it's an option, not that it's like completely cut out, because you got to have like the footage left intact as well. So they give you the option, which is really nice.
Yeah, absolutely. This film was banned in a number of countries, and obscenity charges were brought on the film directors. The very disturbing and realistic capture of scenes of murder and sexual assault led to many believe that Cannibal Holocaust was an actual snuff film. distancing the film from a large margin of the popular movie-going public and forever establishing the film's legacy as one of the most disturbing films ever. The stigma associated with found footage films left in Cannibal Holocaust's wake stifled indie filmmakers' motivations to return to the genre for a number of years. But a few brave filmmakers' motivation to return to the genre few brave new filmmakers took the footage to fresh creative levels, with such as the Vietnam mockumentary 84C Mopic, the mockumentary Man Bites Dog. Have you seen that one?
Nope, that one is one I'm actually going to try to check out soon because I've heard good things.
Alien Abduction Incident in Lake County, and The Last Broadcast, which you actually brought up from 1998. So I can see why Cannibal Holocaust shook people's minds. I feel like now Cannibal Holocaust is not that shocking.
No, like it's not shocking to, I would say, the horror nerds like us.
Yes.
If someone that's not used to watching horror films that much stumbles across it and watches it with a friend or something, they would probably be mortified because.
But don't you think there's worse things we can see on the news?
There is, but I think the fact that this is in a different country in a rainforest and being the tribes that no one really knows too much about unless they actually did research, I think just kind of it's that weird, unfortunate myth that these tribes out in these rainforests get, and I think it just kind of builds on that.
I'll take that definitely as a valid opinion, probably a very strong valid point. I feel like every year we become more desensitized, and I think also because this movie's been talked about so much. Yes, definitely in the horror community, but I think even fringe people start to may know about it as well too. It may bring down the shock value of it, but I still think you make some really valid points that because it's foreign, there's a lot of assumptions that can be made.
And I think it's also part of it is that it does, like, you know, we watched and we know it's not real, but it does like feel real, like, because this is one of those where found footage actually makes it feel like reality, and this is kind of like something that could happen.
Absolutely. You know what? You make a valid point. So the modern resurgence came in 1999 on the shoulders of the Blair Witch Project. The Arts and Entertainment Marketing Department went to great lengths to convince viewers that the project was indeed an authentic documentary, successfully piggybacking off the gimmick of Cannibal Holocaust invented, but they actually had greater box office success. To this day, the Blair Witch Project retains one of the all highest returns on investment ratios of any film, regardless of the budget or studio affiliation. Probably because the film was dirt cheap to make.
Yeah, I think I'm just spitballing here, but I think I remember hearing it was made for $5,000 and like broke over like 50-60 million or something crazy.
Right? Like at that point, you know, how do you ever compare to that?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if Host, the one that was originally released this year on Shudder, if that had had a theatrical release, could it have competed with that, the one that was done over Zoom? But I think now, if you look at, I just think Blair Witch hit a genre at a time where people wanted to see this, and I think that it was marketed so well.
Yeah, that
like this could be studied by marketing students on how to do a marketing ploy.
Yeah, because that is one thing like I gotta give huge props to is the Blair Witch Project. Their marketing team did such a phenomenal job. They created missing posters for each of the actors and posted them everywhere. There was even on like websites that were like talking about how these people were still missing. And then there was that fake documentary made about the Blair Witch that was aired on like MTV and like I think it was like the Discovery Channel and something like that. So everyone was thinking it was real then before the movie even came out. So it was like all this hype was building up to this movie and like brought people into like got their asses in the seats.
Absolutely. Incredibly done. Nothing but respect for the marketing that was behind that. So what's the appeal? The cornerstone of found footage genre can be attributed to one fundamental factor, which is cost. Found footage projects are categorically more affordable to produce than traditional shot narratives, especially on the talent front, since the principal actors are almost always unknown. They're not looking for big paychecks. They're just looking to get a start. The films are typically shot in first-person POV style in order to cut down on the need for qualified camera assistance, and often use lighting sources to cut down on costly grips and use electrical personal equipment. So basically, they're using whatever lighting source is available and whatever equipment's available.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead. Were you going to add something?
Oh, no, I was just agreeing.
Other methods of creating creative storytelling include the use of security cameras like Paranormal Activity 2, or the expanded definition of everyday objects within the narrative, such as how Troll Hunters Hans explains the power line towers dotting opening the Norwegian landscapes are actually part of a complicated troll electrical enclosure in Troll Hunter.
That movie's awesome.
I haven't seen it yet. I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, very good.
In addition to the legitimate cost-cutting efforts by indie producers found on footage projects, distribution companies initially skewed budget numbers to make us believe that the found footage films that are released in theaters cost significantly less than what the film actually costs. So I guess there was also just that marketing that it was cheaper, so many people go wanting to see it to see what it actually would look like. Thus, the found footage genre presents great opportunities for independent filmmakers to create release-worthy films on a shoestring budget, but such opportunities are fleeting and extremely difficult to get right. This is why Scott and I didn't like found footage.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of your opinion of whether a micro-budget found footage film deserves the same audience recognition as films produced with the big budgets, the genre will be around for some time. As long as studios can make money off a cheap production cost of found footage by bringing an audience time and time again, they'll suck the genre for everything it's got, and hopefully we'll have some good films to look forward to in the future before the creativity well runs dry. And you can see found footage. VHS has found footage in it. And all those found footages are done a little bit differently. Same with VHS too. So yeah, it's definitely a genre that's not going anywhere. I think we're going to be looking at this for a very, very long time. And there's even different types of found footage. So when Scott and I were coming up with this show, we realized that this is not just one genre. It is a split genre. And we may continue with the trend and finish that off. Talking about social media, mockumentaries. There's so many different ways that you can go down. But for now, we've chosen a couple that we feel really captures the camcorder version of found footage.
Yep, and like the literal, like, hey, we just found this footage. Let's watch it and see what's on the tape.
Yes. And we're going to let Mr. Crawford lead us off.
All right. So, of course, you're going to have Smoke Show lead in with the movie that he was trashing earlier. So let's get into it.
Let's get into this.
So for the first movie we are going to talk about is what I would probably call the godfather of the found footage genre. Yes, like we were saying, there is Cannibal Holocaust that it was well known before this, but this is the one that brought the genre into the limelight. And it's a 1999 American supernatural horror film written, directed, and edited by Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez. It is based on the purportedly true story of three student filmmakers, Heather Donahue, Michael C. Williams, and Joshua Leonard, who hike in the Black Hills near Burkittsville, Maryland in 1994 to film a documentary about a local legend known as the Blair Witch. The three disappear, but their equipment and footage is discovered a year later. The purportedly recovered footage is the film that the viewer sees. So, yeah, like everyone probably knows just from listening to this, I hated this movie. Like,
but why did you hate this movie, Scott?
It is the dumbass characters. Like this, it's just grating because like it's very realistic. That is one thing I got to give this film.
I would say the actors were pretty fucking good.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say like the actors and everything were very realistic, but I hated them. I could not sympathize with them. I just was frustrated with everything they were doing, like the bickering back and forth. Like I said, it feels real, but at the same time, it drove me nuts. And I just felt this movie did not go anywhere. Like it was just lots of screaming and wandering helplessly in the woods.
A lot of screaming. You're right.
screaming, wandering, and then you get to a house at the end and you get to see a dude standing in the corner. The end. Fuck off. That just like,
Yeah.
it frustrates me beyond belief. Like and this is the thing, I love the idea of this movie, the Blair Witch, the myth of this witch that lives in this woods, that has haunted these woods for years, and the buildup of the legend that they've created and how they've made it seem like a true urban legend. But yeah, this was just one of those films that I just hated when I watched it when I was younger, and I was hoping I would have more appreciation for it now. I have more appreciation for what it was trying to do, but I still hate it.
Scott's like, I still fucking hate you, movie. I honestly am the opposite. The first time I saw this, I was 17. It was around Halloween, and I rented it and had some friends over. And I remember like the big debate whether it was real or not. People were like, "It's not real. It is real. You're stupid if you think it's real. Oh my god, it's so not real." And I'm like, I think it's real. So, I was definitely one of those gullible people that like fucking bought into it. Obviously, I don't now. But at the time, I was just a simple Heather. I mean, my simple world. And I found it boring. We shut it off.
Yep.
I remember that. We were like, this fucking sucks. And we turned it off. We thought it was a big piece of shit. I've rewatched it twice now in the past month. And I can say the second watch, though I agree with you that these characters are not necessarily likable, I definitely had more empathy for them the second time around. I feel like the two guys particularly were doing this project with Heather to help her, but also to gain some experience themselves. And they both got fucked because of her poor decision making.
Yeah. I do agree with that.
Right. I do like the interviews they do with the locals. I think that that's a really, really good touch. I think the going through the woods and the conversations they have outside the tent and in the tent, and they even talk about how they would eat a cheeseburger if they had a chance. And you can kind of see the like they kind of get along at first, and then you see the fights they have, and the emotions that they show in the fights are really fucking real.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is real from what I've heard, because apparently they were pretty much living in the woods while they were filming this movie, like to make it as authentic as they were possibly making it. And like the stress of working with them, all three of them working together for so long, I think they just kind of let it out during those fights.
Because there's one scene where it comes out that the one character, I can't remember all their names. So there's Heather, and who are the other two gentlemen?
I think there was Matt and Jacob, I want to say.
Was it Jay?
Wrong. Let me look real quick.
There's a part where she's yelling at, I think it's Matt, because Matt threw the map into the woods. And she just goes off.
Yeah. It's Michael and Joshua.
And she goes off, and how she goes off was so real. Her screams were ear-shattering.
Yes.
And I think, to me, when I look back on this film, of why this film is given the respect that it's given, it's because of the ability of these three individuals to, whether you like them or not, you believe them in the situation they're in.
Yes, I will completely agree, because like everything like I say about this movie, it feels real.
It feels very real, and I think I have nothing but I honestly have gone up on it, which I never thought I would. I went from shutting off this movie to sitting it through and wanting to punch Heather in the face, to watching it a third time. Well, I should say a second time, because the first time I didn't really fully watch it, and growing my appreciation for it. I'm definitely higher on it than you are, and I'm not saying that you're wrong.
No.
I just think for me, like even when they go to the hotel room at the beginning, and even back to when she picks up that guy and he's like, oh, thanks so much for the opportunity, I'm really excited to do this, and they're having that conversation in the car, and they get to the hotel room and they're joking about smoking up, and the one guy gets really trashed and they sleep in the hotel room. Though I'm a little concerned of how long this weekend is. They seem to be gone for like 8 nights.
Right.
I'm wondering why people haven't looked for them yet. Like that seems a
Well,
little
I
weird
think
for me.
that's part of the whole being lost in these mystical woods. Like they just don't exist in the regular woods anymore.
That must be it. Because yeah, I didn't quite get that part.
Yeah, because they even brought up like, well, we got to return this equipment soon. It's going to be late, and well, now it's like a couple days later, and they're like, we didn't return this equipment. Someone's going to be coming out looking for us, trying to figure out where we are, where this equipment is. I got a job that I was supposed to be at today, and no one's shown up. And I haven't shown up. So,
Yeah.
so they even bring it up, which is good. But like, yeah, I think it's that mythology that 2016 builds up more, where it's like the house doesn't actually exist in those woods. Like it's almost like you walk in and it takes you to another dimension.
Yeah, and you can't get out. But they do see those people fishing at the river that they have the conversation with.
Oh yeah.
Which I do like. I like all the town people in this. Honestly, I think that's the best setup that they could have done. And the part where she turns and faces the camera and she has the monologue about, I'm so sorry, this is all my fault. I'm sorry to my mom. I'm sorry to Matt's mom. Like she kind of goes through this rant, and I don't know if that was improv or if that was supposed to happen, but it was really powerful.
Yeah, I remember like hating that before when I first.
I did too.
And I think it was because it had been spoofed so much that it just died.
Yes.
But rewatching it now and focusing on that and like, seeing the terror and how frightened she was and how like apologetic she was for what she got them into. Like it really hits home a lot more.
I think also when they're going through the forest, you can feel the cold. You can feel the dampness.
Yeah.
You can feel that in your bones. And for anyone that's ever been in the woods and been out, have been really cold. And I feel like in the north, we appreciate this a little bit more because we've been out in the cold. And that I felt like was communicated through this movie. Now, I sound like I'm praising the shit out of this movie and that I love it. And I don't necessarily love it, but I respect this movie a lot. And I think it deserves its place in film history. I think that it opened up an avenue for found footage to be done classy, for it to be done in a way that doesn't harm animals, and for it to be done to connect with this generation.
Yep, I completely agree with you on every bit of that because I hate this movie, but I cannot deny like the power that it had to bring a whole like pretty much bring this genre up and put it to where it is and the effect that it has had throughout history since it has been released because it's 21 years old now.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of respect for this film for that. Just because I hate it personally does not mean it's bad in any way, obviously, because I mean, I am in the minority here for sure. It's just, This is just something that this is one of those movies that just grated on me.
Absolutely.
But, like, I have a lot of respect for it. And my first experience with it, like I seen all the website stuff that they created with the marketing. I seen the fake documentary before the movie came to theaters. So I had this in my head, like, oh, this is real. This is gonna be freaking crazy. And then a few friends went to see it in theaters and they're like, oh, this sucked. I'm like, yeah, but it's real. And they're going, no, it's not. And they showed me the website that proved it wasn't real. Completely destroyed it for me before I could even see the movie. Like if I had a feeling if I believed it was real, it may have had a different effect on me.
Well, but you're feeling that way still now, and that's okay. You didn't connect with the characters, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I think for me, I like this movie. And that's a far distance I've come from shutting it off halfway through to liking it. I do find Heather's character quite obnoxious. And I began to find that endearing the second time I watched it because I feel like she's supposed to be. And she's supposed to be fucking annoying. You're supposed to be pissed at her because she really did put these guys in a really fucking stupid spot.
Oh, for sure.
Where I find the movie loses it, and I feel the same way about 2016, is when they get to the house. And I feel like the shaky camera work was tolerable in this one. It was unexcusable in the 2016. It was horrible in the 2016 movie in that house. But yeah, I think bottom line is, I think this, you and I disagree, and that's 100% okay. I think this is an exceptional example of found footage and how to make a movie on a budget and be successful. And I have nothing but respect for it. Do I, would I put it in my top, movies of all time? I don't think so. But if I look at the impact is you can't deny.
Yeah, exactly. You can't deny anything. Like I agree with everything you say, except for I just don't find it entertaining myself.
Fair enough.
That's the only part I don't agree with for me.
Fair enough. And and the guy staring in, like, they find their friend in the house, and and the 2016 one, I think we should just throw it in quickly to just kind of wrap it up onto here. That one had such potential, as you said earlier. It was great. They brought in the GPS. They brought in the drone. They had cell phones. They had walkie-talkies. Like,
they had
been more prepared.
Yeah, and they had water and food and like everything like they needed, and it still didn't help them because of the way the witch kind of changes the geography around them.
Absolutely. And that movie was awesome. The girl hurting her ankle, the build up on that shit, the craziness, the everything. What ruined that fucking movie was the last 20 minutes. And I'm so fucking mad at that movie because those last 20 minutes in that fucking house were unexcusable.
Yeah, and see, for me, like the last 20 minutes in that, while it was the part that brought that movie down for me, I still liked it way better than the original's final act. There was stuff that happened.
I strongly disagree. Because in the ending of that 2016, they could have pulled in Heather. Heather could have fucking showed up and been super creepy. I don't know. They could have had this camera working that focused enough on shit that I could see what was going on. Not just looking like I put a handy cam on my fucking dog's head and sent him running through the fucking goddamn park and it was flowing around all over the place. And again, Scott, we don't need to agree. Like, we can disagree. That's fine. I just feel like that last 20 minutes, I was so mad because I'm like, fuck, I was really digging this movie. Fuck you, movie. Fuck this ending. Like, you could have done so much more here than do whatever homage you thought you were doing that ended up making this look like shit. It's 2016. Stop going back to 1999 filming. Like, film like it's 2016.
Yeah, because the camera work is like the most inexcusable part for me on that.
Yeah. Like, I get that it's found footage, but it didn't need to be that. Like, it was basically fucking walls and it like shaking up and down. Like, you can't see me because we're on video, but it was fucking ridiculous. And it made me mad. You know what? It made me mad because the beginning of that Blair Witch and the brother wanting to go and look for his sister, like, I really bought into it. I liked the characters. They were definitely way more likable. You're 100% right than the other three.
Yep.
And
even
then they shit the bed. Like, they just shit the fucking bed.
And they even did another thing, in which was brought in a local.
Yeah, that's right. They did. The two locals.
Yep. And like, this is where I like, because like I said, I love the Blair Witch mythology, and in the 2016, they just built on it more, which I really loved. Like the whole stick figure thing. What happens when you break one of those?
Yeah.
That was pretty messed up.
Absolutely, right?
So like, yeah, there's like, there was just more that I liked about that. Like,
absolutely.
I think it's maybe because it made it felt more movie-like and less realistic, maybe.
And that's fair. And we just have two polar opinions on this.
Right.
If given
and I know
I'm
in the minority on this too. So.
Well, and that's okay to be in the minority. Doesn't mean you're wrong, right? It just means that that's your view that you took on it. For me, if I had just seen more clear footage, I would have liked it so much more.
Yeah. And where like that, and that's kind of like if there was more that happened in the original, I would have liked that more.
Absolutely, right? So worth a watch. Why is it so popular? Marketed well, promoted well within the community. But I feel like it paved the way for our next film. Personally, I don't think that, obviously this is a Spanish film, but I think that, Blair Witch opened the door for a lot of these films.
Oh, absolutely. The next film we're going to be talking about is another one that is very well known for good reason, and it is Wreck, which is a 2007 Spanish found footage horror film co-written and directed by Jaume Balaguerra and Paco Plaza. The film centers on a news reporter and her cameraman covering a firefighter intervention at an apartment building in Barcelona. As the situation escalates, and after some of the building's occupants are infected by an evil virus and begin to show animalistic and murderous behavior, the reporter and cameraman find themselves confined in the perilous building. So this was a first-time watch for me. Like, I had seen Quarantine before this, like the remake, which I enjoyed. I had no issues with it, but I've always wanted to watch Wreck and just never for one thought about it when I was actually just kind of scrolling through movies. This year is definitely the year for me, just kind of finding these things that I've missed.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. This was intense. This was really, really good. I like this one because, yeah, it is it's found footage, but it's different because it's more of like a professional style found footage.
Yes, it is.
You got your professional
It's
cameraman.
cleaner.
Yes. And you got your professional cameraman. You got your professional news anchor that's in front talking about it. So it just kind of has that like cleaner, smoother motion to everything. And like you got your reporter that's kind of digging for information as they get to this hotel to kind of like, doing what a reporter does. And it's a way to kind of get more information when they're not supposed to be, when they're told to like turn off the camera, they just slyly drop the camera down and pretend it's off and it's still recording and everything. But yeah, I really dug this. It's very intense, demon possession horror film. Because this reminds me of demons from the 80s, where it's like you get a scratch from a demon, you turn into a demon. It's not like your possession typical style demons.
It's an interesting comparison that you gave. It's interesting.
Yeah, like because it's those demons act like zombies, and that's pretty much what these people act like as zombies, but they're demons.
Yeah, I think this movie, I agree with everything that you're saying. What really, so Scott and I will do questions because I can talk off the seat of my pants. Scott is much more thoughtful and with his words. So he likes to actually think about what he's going to say before we record, where I just talk and hope for the best. And one of the questions I gave is, why is this film awesome? And I think why this film is awesome is for all the reasons that Scott stated, but also the way they set up the character development. Within the first 15 minutes, you get a good idea who the camera woman is. You see her trying to like do her hair and look professional. You see her talking to the firefighters. You see a little bit of flirtation between her and some of the firefighters. You see the guys hanging out, having dinner together. You see them playing basketball. You see them kind of just like totally living their best life and doing what firefighters would do as they're getting ready to go out into like the normal, I guess you could say, their normal day. And then they get to this building and I was like, holy fuck, this reminds me of like, we think our quarantine was bad. We don't know what fucking quarantine is.
You're right.
They get into this apartment building. They go upstairs. This old woman is just like fucked up. And you see how fucked up she is. And she bites, or I think she bites or stabs or something.
Yeah.
One of the characters,
she bites, I think.
Police officers, and shit just goes downhill from there. And you're introduced to a couple characters, a mother and her daughter, who she keeps saying has strep throat. Older man who seems like a middle-aged man who seems to have money and is very dressed classily. A Asian family. And you see a lot of racial tensions going on there. Purposely, that was put in there.
Yep.
And it's the cops and the camera crew, and all of the acting is raw. Like, you believe that these people are in this fucking situation. And I think that's the power of found footage, is that you can actually believe that these people are in this situation and they are stuck there.
Yeah.
And you don't know if they're going to make it out. Right.
Because that is the thing about found footage in general is we're seeing, like in regular movies, we're seeing everything, like because
Mhm.
what the filmmakers make, you see. In this, we're only seeing what everyone else is seeing.
We're seeing what the actors are seeing.
Yeah, we're put into
Right.
the movie.
We're put into the movie. It's like we're a star in the movie and we're going on an interactive ride.
Yeah.
And it is just, when we talked about Cadaver earlier and you follow the actors around and you see everything from their viewpoint,
Yes.
it's like that.
Very true. Yes.
Right? And it's such a good fucking movie. And like there's some jump scares in there that fucking got me. Like
Yeah.
And there's one point where they send in a medical professional that was wearing gowns and shit, which is a little too close to home right now.
You're right.
And eventually he gets infected and he's like, guys, we're not going anywhere. They're not going to let us leave here because this whole building is seen as this infection. And you're not quite sure what it is. You're expecting for it to be zombies, like you said. And then when the little girl turns and the mother's been this fucking like bitch the entire time, and her daughter turns and you see that filming of it. Like the filming is just, you're right. It has that professional angle. They were able to get away with that vision because it was a professional cameraman, quote unquote.
Yep.
And then when they go upstairs to that top loft and they find the demon stuff.
Yeah, all the history and the recordings and all that.
Right? And the camera work is shaky, but it doesn't get so shaky that you don't see what's going on. And that is my beef with the Blair Witch Project 2016. This camera work, you see what's happening. You see the demon coming towards them. You see the cameraman drop the camera, or you know that's what happened. And then you see the girl dragged away.
Yeah.
Right. And it is exceptionally well done. Exactly how you would picture a quarantine going down. People act. I can't, like, this movie, if I were to redo, if I was to do a, top 2000 to 2010, this movie would be in my top 10. That's how much.
And this one makes me want to see part 2 because I've heard part 2 is just as good. And but yeah, I like this one because, like you said, this is this is quarantine where you're forced to be quarantined with people that you are neighbors with, but you are forced to get along because you're actually now in this situation together, and the tensions between everybody just keeps building and building and building. And then then you even got your tensions between the different emergency personnel. So you got your firefighters that are not privy to what is going on, while you have your police officers that are knowing what's going on and they're having to bump heads and dealing with everything. Then you have the government official coming in that's taking over the situation. So you have your emergency powers.
For whoever the DCs for central control would be in Spain.
Yeah. So because I think they even said it was the World Health. I think it was WHO, World Health Organization. And you had all these higher government powers fighting amongst them all, and which also just showed the dire situation, because it's not even the ones that have the power can really help in the situation itself.
And also, you have the people that you would call on for help fighting.
Yeah.
As a civilian. As you said, very, very perfectly well. Yeah, this movie's awesome. And yet again, another fucking Spanish movie.
Right.
Fuck, man. I don't know. Between Spain and France, I don't know. With the few misses that they have a way more hits.
I completely agree. Because, because I was just about to say, Spanish and French films just seem to hit some really good notes.
And, as I said, with the exception of a handful that are, I have seen one that I don't like. Everything else is solid. So when you're batting that high, that's pretty impressive. But let's pull it back to America with this next bad boy.
All right. So I'm wondering if people know what this movie is. This is Cloverfield from 2008, an American monster / kaiju film directed by Matt Reeves, produced by J.J. Abrams, and written by Drew Goddard. The film stars Michael Stahl-David, Odette Yustman, T.J. Miller, Jessica Lucas, Lizzie Kaplan, and Michael Vogel. The film uses a found footage motif to follow 5 young New York residents fleeing from a massive monster and various other small creatures that attacked the city while they were having a farewell party. Right off the bat, the first thing I got to say about this is, yep, this is what found footage is. You bring in all these people that no one knows who they are, and then bam, now I recognized over half this cast.
Yeah.
Going back and seeing it, I'm like, holy crap!
Yeah.
I did not realize this is their first movie.
Yeah, you get
Like,
people for super cheap.
yeah, like, and yep, and sometimes they get so successful from it they become stars themselves. I mean,
T.J. Miller was fucking awesome in this movie.
Oh, he was the comic relief, but at the same time, like, you sympathized for him because you could tell he was the shit he was going through. And
well, the shit they were all going through. And I think what this movie, yet again, does a really good job of is character development at the beginning. You have to care about your characters. If you're going to do this found footage, viewpoint, you have to have some investment. Now, I know in VHS 2, they don't necessarily do that as much, especially with the one where the guy's biking through the
the bicycle zombie one.
Right? But it's a short film, and I can forgive that. And you care enough. The scenario is familiar enough to you that you can connect with it.
Right.
Where I really found this film did a good job is at the beginning. It shows the guy waking up his girlfriend. They're spending the day planning this party. He's recording everything. The party is set up so well. Like, it seemed to me like a very realistic party. You got food, you got drinks, you're getting people to say these farewell messages. You get this awkward tension between this girl and this other guy. Like, it's just really, really well done.
Yeah, like everyone felt real in this, like not like an actor. It just felt like real life humans interacting. Especially with TJ Miller's character, like, awkwardly hitting on, I think it was Odette Yesman, it was Lizzie Kaplan. That's what it was.
Lizzie Kaplan, yeah.
And awkwardly hitting on her, and just like her just trying to be
nice.
also
great in this.
Oh, she was amazing.
Like, she was fucking awesome.
Yeah, and I just liked their interaction between it, because you could see TJ's character just like so trying just to be like charming, and he's just screwing it up, and she's just not having it.
Yeah.
But you can see them kind of building a friendship as the movie progresses, which is nice. And I love the fact that this is even brought up in the movie, but that the main character, I forget his real name, but or his name in the movie, but he brings up, like, where did you get that tape that you're recording on? He's like, oh, it was just already in the camcorder. He's like, that was like some footage of me and my girlfriend on our date night, blah, blah, blah. And then you get those interspersed pieces of the, like, couple nights before when they were out at the carousel, and they were on these date nights, bringing in like a more realistic point of view during the apocalypse stuff that's being filmed. And
absolutely,
I really enjoyed that, and especially at the end when that last moment of them together, and you see the meteor crash in the water behind them, and which is pretty much what happens. What pretty much causes what happens in the movie.
So the girl that shows up, so at the it's a guy's going away party. He's going to go be a VP in Japan, and he banged his female friend and then never called her. She comes to the party, so they're not actually together.
Right.
So that video footage, I think, is from them when they hooked up that night.
Yeah.
And then she brings a date. Did you recognize who the date was?
I recognized him. I didn't know
He's from The Office.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So he's the creator of The Office in the United States version of it. Like, he's involved in the producing or something like that. I can't remember the actor's name, but he stars in it, and he's also has a role in it, or had a role in helping produce it.
That's cool, because I recognized him.
Ryan is his name in the show, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yep, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was cool that he was in it. But I really enjoy the part where shit starts to go down. Like, they're on the stairwell and they're talking. That's where you find out, like, yeah, we hooked up and I never called her, whatever. Now she's acting all weird and they're acting weird. And then shit happens. And they escape out of the building, and there's all that panic. And the panic was well done. Like, filming on those streets of New York City, I don't know if it was filmed directly in New York. I'm going to assume it was.
Yeah.
It was fucking sick how it was filmed. And then when they're trying to cross the bridge and the big tentacle comes out and smashes the bridge, like,
yeah,
fucking feel that. Like, you were like, holy fuck, these people are gonna die. Like, this is fucked up. And you can feel the panic. And I think that's the power of found footage, because you're looking and you're thinking, if I was in that crowded amount of people, oh my God, I would panic too. And I would probably engage like this. And it puts you like in the rider's seat of the characters.
It absolutely does. And like, and I think it has just more of an impact for films like this, because like the iconic shot of the Statue of Liberty being decapitated and the head just
Yes.
crashing in front of
But I
them.
feel like that's just like an American thing.
Oh, it is. Like,
I'm
you
just
know,
teasing.
well, it totally is. Though, I mean, because, you know, if you destroy the Statue of Liberty, that's just an offense to Americans.
America. But
And this illegal alien from another planet came
well, and it
down.
was an illegal alien. I'm pretty sure it didn't have any paperwork.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's an illegal alien came down to America, took out our Statue of Liberty, kept destroying our roads, and trying to change the world he believes in. We need to kick him out of here, build a wall.
Hopefully no more wells are built after this podcast.
Yeah, no kidding.
So speaking of that though, the subway system, and even when now the only thing I find funny about this movie is I really doubt that someone would keep recording that period of time. And
I was going to bring that up about a lot of found footage. That is the issue I have.
The only two so far that I buy it in are Rec, because they're a film crew, and Blair Witch Project because of her obsession with making that project.
Yep.
This, they're just like, oh no, we got to document it one day in case someone finds this footage. Like, I get that was a throw-in line, but I don't think in that real situation I would be running with the camcorder. Like, I don't think, or my phone out. I don't think I'd be running trying to video it. I don't know. Maybe people out there would be.
I would be saying, goodbye, camera, run.
Yeah, I think I would be like, self-preservation would take over. That's my only big issue with this film, you know, for what it is the fact that they keep on recording. Like, even when they go up to save their friend in that room and there's all that fucking drama and shit, and he's like, they're being chased and shit. I don't buy that TJ Miller would hold on to that camcorder and keep fucking filming. Only thing I don't buy of that movie. Especially
when they're all running down the road and the monster is like right there, like on the other street smashing things, and you even hear TJ Miller freaking the fuck out. I think at that point, if he's seeing like, because I think it was a tank that it just came over and just walloped out of the air or something like that, and like TJ starts freaking out at that moment when that thing hit the tank, I probably would have just been like, drop the camera, get the fuck out.
Be like, fuck this shit, I'm out of here, bitches.
Yep, I can't be here any longer. This is no good.
Yeah, I agree with you. And yet again, that's a small complaint. Yet again, it's a found footage film, so you're suspending disbelief. I just don't think it's the strongest found footage film because of that. But I did enjoy the monster. I enjoyed how they used the creature. I enjoyed the ending. I thought it was a very realistic ending.
And I love the parasites that fall off of its body.
Yes, the parasites are pretty sick.
And those things, I couldn't help but laugh though, because when they're chasing them through the subway, like that scene right there is really tense.
Yeah, it is very tense.
But when they finally, knock them off of the girl, and they go running, they get into that one room and they close the door and they're trying to bash through the door, I just couldn't help but laugh, because the damn creatures kind of sound like
like they're Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god. Like, I just couldn't help but laugh because it seemed so comedic with the way they sounded compared to like the regular monster and everything.
I agree with you 100%. So good, decent found footage film. Not the best, but I would say entertaining, great special effects, did a great job of putting you in the viewer's seat. I almost feel like this could be a great ride. Like, this is a movie that if this had come out at D-Box, it would have been a fucking wild ride.
Oh, that would have been insane.
Right. So fun. Not my fave, but up there in popularity of something I enjoyed.
Yep. This is one that I could go back and watch because it's kind of an American kaiju film, and I am a fan of kaiju, and I would recommend checking out 10 Cloverfield Lane, because
yes, you've seen that one.
That one, while it deals with like the effects of what happens in this movie, is a very isolated film, and it's very like it almost feels like it could have been a completely different movie.
Agreed. Absolutely.
But now let's move to North America.
Well, you mean Canada?
Northern America. And let's discuss
North America, because it's that's such an American thing to say. Let's move to North America. But we're already in North America.
well, I mean, I am talking about building a wall against those legal aliens coming
like
down
New
from
York
outer space.
City's only a 7-hour drive from me, Scott. Closer for me to get to New York City than it is for you to get to New York City.
I know. I was trying to say this. I was saying, nah, never mind.
This is me laughing like you did when you thought I said blow up doll.
I know.
This is my version of blow up doll. I'm sure no one finds it as funny as I do right now, but that's okay.
All right, let's take this to the Great White North. How about that?
Even worse, but
I
I'll
know.
accept it for now.
I know. That's why I said it, because I had to get that look from you. But
Anyway,
we're talking about the Canadian found footage film Grave Encounters from 2011. It is a supernatural found footage horror film. The footage follows the crew of a paranormal reality television program who lock themselves in a haunted psychiatric hospital in search of evidence of paranormal activity as they shoot what ends up becoming their final episode. Written and directed by Colin Minahan and Stuart Ortiz, the film premiered on April 22nd, 2011 at the Tribeca Film Festival and received mostly mixed reviews. The film was released on August 25th, 2011 in select theaters using the Eventful Demand It and Video on Demand via Comcast. Film premiered internationally in Italy via distributor Eagle Pictures under the title ESP Phenomenae Paranormani on June 1st of 2011. The trailer for Grave Encounters is considered a viral sensation, generating over 30 million views. I did not know that about the trailer. That's pretty cool.
isn't that cool?
Yeah.
You know, we're all about the facts here on Friday Nightmares.
And I'm just kind of like what's his name from Anchorman. You put something in front of me, I read it.
It's so true. I could be like, Scott likes poo poo. And you would read it out loud.
I probably would.
And you'd be like, and Scott likes poo poo. I like poo poo. I'm sorry, what's in North America again?
You know, lots of snow.
God. North America.
Snow, mooses.
I'm in America.
There's only one America here, young lady.
Canada.
And it Trump's America.
Fucking Canadians. I wasn't sure what to think of this movie when I put it on, because if we all know what I love, it's paranormal investigators, and we have a show, and we're going to a haunted house that's really haunted, and it like totally delivered.
Yes, because that is like one of those types of films that I like, almost like mini subgenres, is the paranormal investigators finding something real. Because I love those, because I cannot stand those paranormal investigators like that do their
Like,
TV shows.
you've ever watched those shows? And
Oh, they're
they'll be like,
painful. What is
"In the
that?
basement."
What is that?
And they'll be like, flashlight creaking. If you're here with us, give us a sign.
Did you hear that?
And then they like replay the tape back. Oh my god, I love that shit so much.
You replay the tape back and you're, see, did you hear that? Did you hear that? I heard white static. See, right there. It's right there. Listen closely.
Now,
See,
to
right
be
there.
fair, I do believe in ghosts and shit, so I don't want to joke too much, because I don't want anything to come after me. So
Well, no,
do
I'm just
believe in
making fun
ghosts.
of these freaking idiots that do the reality TV.
That's fine. Ghosts can go after you. I don't want them to come after me. But I do believe anyway. I do believe in ghosts, but I don't
do I.
believe in these paranormal shows.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Yes, and I what I love about this movie is the setup. First, they have a director being like, "Yeah, so you know, this was a really promising group of people, and we signed them up to do this show. We only got 6 episodes in because this is what happened on the 6th episode." And it has them going into like getting set up to go to this school and stuff, and they're kind of doing all this chatting beforehand. And Scott has put himself on mute for 15 minutes, people. And I'm sorry that I have to keep talking, but he does this all the time. That's right, Scotty. That's right. And you're leaving this shit in there. Oh, anyway, it's not me babbling on. Scott goes on mute. So they go to this school. Or is it a school? Or is it like a mental
It's a
asylum?
sanitarium.
Is it? Okay. And they do this whole tour around it, and they bring in the caretaker. They do this like, has anything ever happened here? And of course, like he has some stories. And then my favorite is they go outside to the gardener. And it's a guy, and they're like, so you've been working here? He's like, just for a week. And he's trying to like work, and he's trying to ignore them. And they're like, so has anything happened since you've been here? No, nothing's happened. And then you see him give the guy $20 or whatever it is. And he's like, yeah, I was working a couple of days ago, and I saw him off to tell some story. Oh my God. I thought it was the funniest shit I'd ever seen. Oh my God. It was so fucking funny.
Because you know it's so true that they pull that shit.
That's probably what happens, right?
Yeah.
So the setup to it was great. I really enjoyed them doing the interviews and how cheesy they are. And they're going to the bathtub, and they're like, they have the one guy that's like, I sense there was pain in this room.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And like they're trying not to laugh during the outtakes and stuff. Like that setup was fucking mint. It was brilliant. And that's what good found footage is. You're setting up yet again your characters, and you're seeing them do these shitty things and trying to make this show, and you're like, oh, this is all going to be horse shit. And then when things start to fucking happen, it ramps it up.
Oh, and in this movie, it ramps it up freaking like it goes insane. And excuse me.
Oh, see, you could have muted your mic for that. Just not when you take your vape for 15
I didn't want to get yelled at.
Well, it's because you vaped. This man vapes more than any person I've ever seen vape. I'm beginning to think he has magical dust in there that I want something of.
Well, I mean,
like,
that's how I become the smoke show.
What is in that vape?
Magic.
I need some vape. Like, then I could look as hot as you.
Oh, yeah.
Like, right now, I'm only a 2. And with that vape, I could become a 10.
I mean, it is a robot dick.
It's okay, you can mute. You don't want the vape in there all the time. Just stop vaping every 50 seconds. See, this is what happens when mommy and daddy fight, okay? We're just trying to have a good podcasting relationship here. Like, I know it's been a while since we've seen each other and things are hard, but don't worry. You're going to come up here and get shit-faced with me real soon.
Oh, that's so true. It will happen.
And then we'll be regretting lots of decisions together. So he'll be like, why did you have those shots? I'll be like, why did you have those shots? It will be really, really bad news, Bears.
And we'll wake up the next morning and go, fuck.
Yeah, that will probably be the one word you'll be able to say. That is true.
Like, fuck.
All right. What did you think of Grave Encounters? If you're done vaping.
You smart ass. No, this one, I watched this one earlier in the year when we were starting our first time watches because I'd heard so many people talk about it. Fuck, this movie legit scared me.
Yeah, it had scary parts.
Like, I don't get affected by horror films very often. I'm like desensitized to it. Like, but this one made me jump. It got under my skin. Like I've talked about on this show before. Like, a lot of the supernatural stuff really, a lot of the newer stuff I'm starting to realize is very effective. It just, for some reason, I just wasn't affected by it before. But like, watch some of this stuff now. It's really getting under my skin, and I think it's the found footage genre itself that makes it feel so realistic that it makes it even better. And with it being in a sanitarium, a lot of like the night vision style shots.
Awesomely used. Yes.
Yes. And there's pretty much walking around in freaking pitch black, which, as much as I love going into abandoned buildings, I'm sorry, but I don't know if I would go into abandoned facilities like this.
And this also played from the Blair Witch, where they lost sense of time.
Yes.
And they were waiting for day to come, and it never did.
That's right. And like the exits disappeared and the doors wouldn't open to certain rooms.
Yep.
And like, once again, part 2 builds on the mythology of this more, and like literally the building shifts around and gets you lost in part 2. But this one, yeah, like, and like the kills in this were like uncomfortable and extremely violent too.
Yes, they were.
And yeah, this one was just this is probably one of my all-time favorite found footage films.
It was scary. It was straight up scary.
Yeah.
And it takes a real turn when the cameraman gets a call from his daughter, and he's trying to help her go to sleep, and you see one of the ghosts for the first time, and the way that things just got darker and darker, waking up and having the bracelets on them.
Yeah.
Seeing the mental the patients that have been kept there and their ghosts and haunting them, seeing the doctor that had performed these experiments on them. And it does tie in to Grave Encounters 2 very well. If you can get past the first 25 minutes of it, and they go in fully equipped, they go in with lots of food and water, they go in with GPS, they go in with way more stuff than this other group did, and they end up getting lost.
Yep.
They use the whole glow sticks to try to find their way out. That doesn't work. Like Grave Encounters 2 and Grave Encounters really do follow up for each other if you can get past that first 25 minutes of Grave Encounters 2. I think.
Yep, I completely agree. Because this movie, like both these movies together, are flow into each other perfectly.
There's two scenes that stand out for me in Grave Encounters. It's when they go into the room and they see the nurse and the doctor operating. The nurse is on the patient. The guy at the end goes in and he sees the nurse and the doctor, and he becomes he's like, they said they fixed me and I can go home soon. Like indicating that he had a lobotomy or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The second scenes that stand out for me is when in Grave Encounters 2 is when the three people think they make it out, go back to the hotel room.
Oh yeah.
Go down the elevator and it opens in the sanitarium again.
Yeah, that was really effective.
And I think it is just such a mind mess. You're right. The night vision is amazing. The special effects and the ghosts and the ramping up of the ghost behavior, the screaming. They see the ghost and then the ghost's face distort and they become these horrible visions. It is a scary film.
Yeah, it almost reminds. I'm trying to think because it almost reminds me of something you would see on a doctored video on YouTube, like the way the ghosts look. Which, because they're looking all normal, all of a sudden just all of a sudden they just get distorted and freak out looking, and
absolutely.
But and it's done in such an effective way, and even though these characters are all just these dumb paranormal people, you start to feel for them because once again you build up the characters before they even get into this mess and everything that they go through, and I'm trying to remember. I think it was the one scene that stuck to me was I think it was the woman was walking in the hallway by herself, and she was walking towards the camera that was on the tripod and that was facing down, she was walking towards it, so you seen her and you see in the background, you see that wheelchair moving.
Yes. Yes.
Just simple effects like that. And then the same with when they go to that tripod that's upstairs with the windows, and you see the windows opening or slamming shut with nothing there. It's along the lines of Paranormal Activity with the way they did stuff like that, but it was super effective, just like in Paranormal Activity.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. This film to me is just a ghost film done right. This is one of the best paranormal investigators go into a haunted house film, found footage or otherwise, in my opinion. Now I have not seen Ghost Killers versus Bloody Mary.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that one and this one are tied for me now.
Maybe I would feel differently on seeing that, but out of what I've seen, this is my fave. Followed up by the sequel. I honestly think the sequel, with the exception of what I talked about earlier, is scary, well done, well acted. The ending to the sequel is very good. The telltale ending. How they try to make it look real and fake all at the same time. Awesome.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, I completely agree. I like this one better than the sequel, but the sequel is not far off. They're pretty close to each other.
Absolutely. I recommend watch.
Yes.
I think these are movies that you should check out. But let's move on to our last one, which is controversial.
Oh, yes. So
it's Shyamalan Ding Dong.
Yes. What a twist. So our last movie of the night. Sounded sounded like a ghost host from an old TV show there. The last movie for the
You
night.
did. You did.
All right. So the last movie we're going to talk about in the found footage topic is M. Night Shyamalan.
Shyamalan.
2015 American found footage horror comedy, The Visit.
Comedy?
I don't see the
Like
comedy.
some funny parts, but then there's some real fucked up scenes.
Yeah, I wouldn't call this horror comedy. I would call this horror. Splash of comedic elements to lighten up the mood.
Yeah.
Like that, it's not like a comedy at all. But it stars. It's obviously produced and directed by M. Night Shyamalan. What do we?
And written.
And written, yes.
He does it all.
He is a man of everything. It stars Olivia DeJonge, Ed Oxenbould, Deanna Dunnigan, Peter McRobbie, and Catherine Hahn. Film centers around teenage Becca and her younger brother Tyler, who live with their single mother who left home 15 years ago and is estranged from her parents. After finding their grandchildren online and wanting to meet them, the grandparents invite them to spend a week at their farm while their mother goes off with her boyfriend. Aspiring filmmaker Becca and her little brother decide to go, and Becca decides to make a documentary of their visit. Strange behaviors and dark, disturbing secrets soon emerge.
Now, the only accuracy issue I have with this film. What mother, after not seeing her parents for 15 years, puts her kids on a train, and now we have 2015, we have cameras on phones by now, and doesn't go with them for the train ride at least to do the pass off? I find that the most fucking unbelievable thing I've ever seen.
And the sad thing is ridiculous as it is, I could see a mother doing that, like a bad
15
mother.
years you didn't talk to your parents. Like, I'm not talking like, your mom kept in contact with her mom.
Right.
Both of my parents lost a parent at a young age, but their parents were remarried, and I saw my grandparents on a regular basis. Like, I'm not like, this is 15 years of no contact. You're going to put your kids on a fucking train and ship them off, and you're not going to go with them to see your mom and dad? Now, maybe she talked to them on the phone and she felt like there was already clarity, because we can tell that, the twist happened at some point. But I just think that's a little weird.
I think it's weird, but I don't think it's completely unreasonable, because just for the fact that I think this mother is very self-absorbed and selfish.
I didn't get that impression from her.
Okay, see, I got that from her because, like, she's talking about going on, like, she's all excited to get rid of her kids because she's going to go on this cruise with her new boyfriend, and, like, she was all excited about it. And then whenever she when she does call them, she's talking about how to make, like, a lot of the things that she's talking about is how much of a fun time she's having on her cruise, and not really being too concerned about what's going on with the kids.
I guess I didn't get that. Her kids are also, like, old. They're not. Yeah. And I feel like the only way I can alleviate my concern is that when her parents were alive, she had talked to them. Because the plans were made with the parents, the actual parents. And maybe they sorted everything out on the phone and she felt fine sending them. I will never buy that as part of this story. To me, I just don't buy after 15 years that you wouldn't get on a train and come for the first night. But then we wouldn't have a horror movie. So, at the same time, like, you need the plot to move along. So I will forgive it and, move it aside. But I think the greeting of the grandparents, quote unquote, and the kids seem very normal at first.
Yeah. Like, it's that awkward, like, first time meeting each other, but, like, happy to see each other and happy to welcome them to their home. Mm-hmm. And learning about them and wanting to, like, do things with them. It's just when it, like, hits was it 9 o'clock or something like that at night?
Yeah. And they have, like, a fun little afternoon of, like, baking cookies and, like, doing stuff. And they're calling them grandma and grandpa, and they're like, we're so glad you came to visit. We feel so loved. And they're like, no, after 9 o'clock, you can't leave your room. And this is where the male and the female who are playing the grandparents start to display some pretty concerning behaviors.
Just a little bit.
Like rocking uncontrollably in chairs, running around the house, scratching at windows and doors.
Grandma running around the house naked.
Right? Like, you know, and I wasn't sure if these two were like a couple in the sane asylum. So for those that have not seen The Visit, we're going to give a big spoiler here. The people that are posing as the grandparents were patients of where the original grandparents volunteered at, found out where they lived, broke out of the asylum or wherever they were, killed them, and took their place.
Yeah.
Which doesn't explain why the cops haven't come by to look for these older people and why they're not looking for the people that escaped.
Right? Like, well, I'll say like that is actually a really good point.
Like, you know, if they were volunteering at this home all the time,
and then they just stopped
and then they
showing
stop
up.
coming, and they're older, like I would be probably, if I worked at that home and I saw that these two other patients escaped, I would probably be calling the police.
Yeah, because I'll say that makes a lot of sense. Because, yeah, like, because for one, they would notice the grandparents not showing back up. Also, they would probably put 2 and 2 together. Hey, these two escaped. All of a sudden, grandma and grandpa aren't coming back to volunteer. There's more to this than we thought. Like, you brought up a great point. Wow.
But you know, we're not talking about plot holes. We're talking about found footage quality. I think it would make sense that the little boy would want to record it.
Well, he was an up and coming rapper.
Where he was an up and coming rapper, and the idea that he wanted to. I used to have a camcorder, and I'd like to record shit too. Do I think he would have recorded everything? No, but then they start recording things because their grandparents are acting weird. Yeah, so they record it because they're like, well, we better get this on tape to show our mom. Because they're probably thinking, I think the older one's thinking they may have Alzheimer's, they may have dementia, they may have other things going on. And you're right. I think she was concerned with herself because maybe this was the first time in 15 years she was able to send her kids away for a week and she was able to be on her own.
Right. Because that was the part that I also didn't get was like, okay, my children are going away by themselves for their first time, traveling by themselves to my grandparents who I haven't seen or talked to, which, you know, issue right there, like you said.
Well, we're assuming they probably had a phone conversation.
Right. But I don't think my parents, if I was doing something like this, would have planned to take a cruise while I was gone, just in case they needed me for something, in case I needed them for something. I think my mom would have probably stayed home. So that's where I think the self-absorbed part comes in a bit.
Yeah, maybe. But in all fairness, like if that was your mom's parents and she had reconnected with her mother and maybe they had like a 2-hour conversation on the phone and they cleared up everything and the mother had assured her everything would be fine. And I would trust my mom with my kids. You know, like I hear you, but I think that, you know, and they probably said, no, go away. You deserve it. Go. Like, we don't get that backstory. So you could be right or I could be right. We have no fucking idea because he never gives a backstory.
That is true. Like,
he's like, you're on a train. So we have no idea. Like, we're imagining a conversation took place or didn't take place. Like, we have no fucking clue.
That is very true.
Right? And that's the problem with this movie.
Yeah.
There's some major plot holes that M. Long Shungalong didn't think about when doing this.
All he thought about was the twist.
All he thought about was the money that he was going to make off of this film. That's what he thought about. Right. He was riding high on all those other fucking movies. And he thought to himself, if I keep going on this route, I will be able to continue to make all these films. But
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I think some of the best scenes of this involve the filming underneath the house.
Oh my God, that scene was so creepy.
When they're playing hide and go seek. Very, very
well done. The grandma joins them.
Very, very well done. One of the scenes that was the hardest for me was when they find out that this older man has been wearing diapers and he's just been disposing them in the chicken coop, which is fucking disgusting.
Yep.
But then when he takes the diaper and shoves it into the kid's face.
Yeah.
That scene for me was really, really upsetting.
I just got nauseous when I seen that.
Like, I just found it extremely traumatic, and the kid is kind of like in shock when it's happening, and it's very, very upsetting.
Yeah, because that is like the scene that I think everybody remembers from this movie. That and the stuff that happens underneath the house. Because it's just like one's just really freaky and one's just like, what the fuck? Like, that is a
Right.
very fucked up scene.
And how does she end up outsmarting them at the end? What does she? Because it's the girl that pulls it off.
I do not remember. I'm get to Wikipedia because it's been about 2 months since I watched it now. I didn't get a chance to rewatch this one.
See, that tells you how much we didn't want to rewatch this movie.
Yeah.
Because it's a well done with why the kid is filming it and why that's happening. Oh, right. They force him to play not Yahtzee. So where everything comes to be is that they find the camera footage of Nana with a knife. They get in contact with their parent, their mom. They beg her to come get them. They show the parents, and she freaks out and says those are not her grandparents. And that's when she freaks out and she's trying to figure out how to get to them. And then they get them to play Yahtzee. They find the bodies of their grandparents along with the uniforms from the mental health hospital, which they worked at, revealing the imposters as the escaped patients. And yeah, like the man is tormenting. So he locks Becca in a room and imprisons her in the bedroom with Nana, who's fucking crazy. And then the grandfather tortures Tyler with the dirty diaper and all that other stuff. Becca fatally stabs her Nana and eventually kills her because it was in a dark room, and they basically leaves her for the Nana to kill her. And then attacks Pop Pop. As Pop Pop starts to gain the upper hand, Tyler knocks him to the floor and kills him repeatedly by slamming his head in the refrigerator. I remember that scene.
That scene was awesome. Yeah.
Right? The teens escaped, met outside where they were met by their mother and police officer. So somehow this bitch got off a cruise and made it there.
Right.
Within like
a day.
I don't know, like I guess it's about 12 hours, 10 hours.
Yeah, like that doesn't and she's on a cruise, so it's like you gotta wait for the cruise ship to get back.
You got to get to a port anyway. But bottom line is the filming of this is the filming is very good. The kid documents everything. At first he's documenting it because he's excited, and he's just excited to see his grandparents, and they're going to share this with their mom. And then it becomes out of like, we think something's wrong with them, and then they realize what the fuck's going on, and they're trying to just let their mother know. The filming of everything else is, I think the grandfather sets up the camera and tortures the kid and does other shit. And it kind of switches away from found footage because that's how we see in the bedroom.
Right.
With Nana, right? So we do get a flitch out of found footage. So it is a majority found footage camcorder film, but it does switch in and out. I do appreciate the plot of this movie in the sense I think the story is decent enough. Like if we take out all the plot holes and we just go for the ride, I think the acting is pretty decent, especially done by the older folks and the kids. But I don't think it's one of the best found footage movies out there, and I don't think it's the best work for M. Night Shyamalan.
No, I would say this is kind of like middle of the road for one of his films.
It's middle of the road for found footage too. At least I buy the reason why they're filming it as much as they are. I can accept that. But yeah,
this one's just kind of okay. But yeah, like it's one of those other ones we decided to talk about because it was a different style of the found footage.
Well, it's camcorder, and it's not horrible. Like, it's not horrible. The build up to the kids are pretty good.
And I was saying it's technically not even found footage. It's just footage.
Well, it's footage, and I guess they would be showing the cops about what happened and stuff like that to clear, because they just also both committed murder. So you need to have some proof as to why you did that. That is very true. So I can definitely forgive those parts of it. And I do really like the kids, and I do really like the grandparents. I think the four actors really played well off of each other, which made it a believable film despite the many potholes that existed in it.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I'd say it's still worth a watch. I think everything on this list, if you haven't seen any of it, it's worth checking out.
Yeah. Even though we just spoiled the shit out of the visit for you, it's still pretty scary at parts, and there's some really good jump scares.
Yeah, because even when you tell somebody about that diaper scene, it's still doesn't
not like seeing it.
Watch it, it's like, oh,
it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up.
Yeah, and just really weird shit. So for out of our dark segment, which is our final segment that we'll be covering tonight, we're going to talk about what is missing in found footage and what could be done next. And I have an idea, but I'm going to see first if Scott has one.
All right, so I've been deliberating on this one for the whole entire week since we discussed what our topic was going to be, and I was having a hard time. But I did come up with something I would kind of like to see now.
What? Per se, my friend.
I would like to see something along the lines of a found footage, almost like a home video of, say, Christmas time, or like one of the holidays where you would film with your family and like opening the gifts and like spending dinner and chatting with everybody. I would like to see a found footage film that focused on one of the holidays and treat it like it was an actual home video. That's kind of what I'd like to see.
And so you can watch those at anyone's house. Where would be the horror twist?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, you'd have to. I don't know what the horror twist would be. Like, it could
You're
be
like, but I want to
supernatural.
see it based in a family gathering.
Yes,
Okay.
I want a horror scenario based like a family gathering, like a family holiday get together.
And then shit starts to happen slowly. You get to know the characters at the beginning, so you can see them setting up for the holiday meal.
Yep.
And the event,
like
and then
someone
people
recording
coming
grandma
over.
cooking the dinners and stuff like that. And
That'd be a really cool exorcism, or a demon.
yeah, see that's kind of what I was thinking, because like I don't think like a regular haunting style paranormal activity would work on this one. I think it would be something that had to happen to like one person.
That's a really interesting concept, and I don't think that's been done in at least in the found footage I have seen yet. Like, I know in VHS they do that barbecue and stuff like that, but you're looking at more of a holiday focus, a full length feature, developing, and they're recording it because they're just recording it for family value, to keep it and have a record of it, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. Yeah, mine actually was I went tree top trekking recently this month. And while I was up on one of these trees, so you basically climb pretty high up and you have to walk across these boards. In one case, you have to walk across wires. You have to walk across these logs that are spaced out. Like, it's actually really physically hard. And I thought to myself, it'd be really cool, because I saw people with GoPros on their helmet. I'm like, imagine a treetop trekking zombie apocalypse. So you're up in the trees, and while you're up there treetop trekking, a zombie breakout happens, or an infection breakout happens, and you start having people infected below you. And you have to stay on the treetops, and you have like 5 or 6 people that are doing this together, and they have to move from obstacle to obstacle. Now, you are clipped in, but you do fall down a bit when you fall, and you have to pull yourself back up. So imagine that, and you are trying to prevent these infected from crawling up, because they may be able to crawl up the ladders, but they may be able to crawl across some of the obstacles, but then they fall to the ground, and people just can't survive it.
Wow. See, now this would be like something. This would probably affect me more watching it than probably would be you, because my fear of like the heights and falling, and then just especially to fall and the chance of zombies snagging you and grabbing you while you're hanging trying to get yourself back up.
Yeah, and they could be slow moving zombies, or you could do fast ones like infection based, because infections tend to be faster than dead, right? Unless you look at Dawn of the Dead and stuff like that. But I think it would be something that would be a really interesting, like, it's a sport or an activity that's common right now. A lot of people are familiar with it. It's kind of seen as an extreme sport or extreme activity, whatever you want to call it. And it would be a cool way to incorporate life into the infected zombie genre. And, you see them showing up to this thing. Like, I thought of me and my friends showing up and us having the talk of getting fitted, and you learn about each character, and you see them go through the first obstacle and how nervous they are. And
I like this.
And then because you zip line as well, like they actually teach you how to zip line, because there's zip lines on the courses. So then you would have to zip line and try not to get grabbed by the infected. And if you fall, you're like it, and you of course would have people taken off and stuff. And how are you going to survive? Because you're also going to run into, like, you're running out of water. You would have a water bottle on you, but you're running out of water. You're running out of food. And typically you would leave yourself stuff down on a picnic table. So that's where your cell phones would be, because you don't carry your cell phone because you're worried something's going to happen. So then you would have someone trying to get to their cell phone and get back up.
That makes sense.
I know. I'm a genius.
I like this. I like both of I like both these ideas. Like I would love to see both of these turned into films. That would be really cool.
Well, I give anyone permission who's out there. If you want to steal my idea, I don't care. Because I'm not talented enough to make a movie. So I just think that would be a really cool thing to add. And I could see that being a low budget 60-minute film. It doesn't need to be any longer than that.
Right.
Or maybe you could make it into a longer film than that. And I don't know what a cool name of it would be, but it would be a pretty fun, easy film to do. You basically are just using a GoPro and a couple of different GoPro angles that you would edit together.
Yeah. Treetop of the Dead.
Yeah.
Or Trek of the Dead.
Trek of the Dead.
I like that.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's where found footage needs to go. It needs to be more inventive. We need to move away just from, going to obstacles and stuff like that. We need to go into different kind of avenues. We need to incorporate modern activities. And that's the thing about horror movies when they start including things like Airbnbs and Ubers and ride shares.
Yeah.
You need to, and host where you're using Zoom. We need to create things that connect to us and that we can relate to in this generation at our pop culture. And that's where I think you can have a lot of creativity with found footage.
Yeah, I agree. And also, I think found footage needs to kind of distance itself from like the ghostly supernatural, because that's what it seems to hang its hat on the most. I would like to see more like a slasher style one. Because what is it? The Laid to Rest movies, the killer has like a GoPro attached to his mask and he's like filming his victims, but it's not done in a found footage style film. It's like a regular slasher. But I would like to see something like that where instead of it being through the eyes of the antagonist instead of the protagonist, like, or something like that, where he's the one doing the filmmaking and like stalking, but he's recording everything.
Absolutely.
I think that would be kind of cool. Like I think it just the found footage genre just needs to like step into different genres of horror. Like we did get Cloverfield with the whole kaiju, which is a unique twist on the genre. And so I think just keep kind of raising the stakes, changing them up a little bit. Like you can come up with some really good stuff.
Absolutely. You got to continuously look at how you can connect with your audience and continue to build connections to the audience, of stuff that's modern, stuff that is catchy, stuff that people care about, people that they can relate, because that's what found footage does. It puts you in the position of the character, and that's something that is super important and can be very helpful for when you're doing your films.
I completely agree. I have to say, after this whole diving deep into this theme, I have so much more respect for this genre now.
Absolutely. I think my opinion on it has strongly changed, and I think that's important. It's important to have your opinions challenged, and we will pick this apart a little bit more. We're going to be looking at social media films. And what was the other genre I said? So there was
we wanted to do the faux documentary as well,
and mockumentaries, or whatever they're called. So we're going to be looking at those and talking about those. Maybe we'll do that a whole series. We've done that before.
Maybe we'll do this like we did. Yeah, we could probably just do it like we did the creature feature ones.
Absolutely.
Just tackle them all and leading up to throughout the rest of this month.
Absolutely, we could, for sure. So I guess that's it. We kind of talked about what we're going to do next. Thank you, everyone, as always, for joining us and listening and supporting our podcast. I don't know, Scott, do you have anything else to add?
I just want to say thank you very much. And I'm hoping you guys are enjoying this, because we've been having a lot of fun. I mean, holy shit, we're on 20 episodes now, which is, I think, have hit where the horror drunks stopped.
Awesome.
So we have progressed, and I am happy that everyone is enjoying this and giving us all the feedback that we've been getting from our shows, because we do have a blast recording these. And yes, it would be fun to record these in person, but with the whole pandemic and the
I don't
borders
think we'll ever
closed,
record in person again.
No,
honestly.
I'll say we've made it so it's easy for us to do it this way now.
Yeah, and we can see each other, and that was the whole value of it. When we visit each other, which we will do one day, maybe we will. If we go to a horror con or something and we're at your place and we want to reset up all the equipment and do it, we probably will, but that would not be for another 6 months at minimum. So we will have many episodes before that happens.
Yes, we will. And it's great because we keep coming up with new ideas for topics. So
it's true.
like,
we've done pretty well. We're just superstars here.
We are. We're so professional too.
Super professional show for sure. Well, Scotty, thanks again. It's been a slice. Thanks to everybody for listening, and check out some found footage. You may be surprised what's out there. And until then, unpleasant dreams.
Unpleasant dreams.